Chapter 70. Tang Tian shifted his footsteps and dodged the punch. The biting cold energy brushed past Tang Tian's face. Tang Tian's 5 fingers were like hooks, locking onto his opponent's wrist. There was a flaw in his right shoulder. The sounds of fists, palms, and kicks colliding were as dense as rain. And then? Tang Tian asked impatiently. Within half a minute of the black robot activating its power mode, Tang Tian was completely suppressed and at a complete disadvantage. He could only barely defend himself. His shoulders, thighs, and other areas were all punched. Previously, Tang Tian's movements were still somewhat jerky and incoherent. Although he had trained every martial technique to perfection, there was never a time where he had to perfectly fuse a few martial techniques together. But now, those jerky areas were slowly being polished off. Tang Tian's movements were becoming more and more coherent, with a sense of freedom. Bang, bang, bang. It was the first time he heard someone explain spirit cards in such a way, but the more he thought about it, the more he felt that it was too appropriate. Spirit cards were used to explain martial techniques, and martial techniques were a way to use power. The black robot's eyes flashed with a demonic red light, and its attack increased substantially. After saying that, Sai Lei picked 5 cards, opened the back of the Sai Lei testing device, and inserted the 5 cards. Welcome to the first battle of the Sai Lei testing device. Sai Lei's face was fanatical, and his finger pointed at Tang Tian. Go! Sai Lei testing device. The black robot's movements suddenly became flustered, and it tried to use its arm to block the attack. Tang Tian's palm trembled, and the broken shadow palm suddenly exploded. I'm a close-quarters combat expert. Tang Tian was not the least bit modest. I'm very powerful. Originally, bronze was the best, but the ancient bronze formula has long disappeared. I tried many times, but the energy conduction is not very good. So I chose black steel. Oh, black steel is also cheap. Sai Lei continued. The star treasure inside is a bronze star treasure, a cheap item. Oh, you're a close-quarters combat expert. Then I'll have to pick a few cards. Tang Tian listened attentively. At the side, Sai Lei was dumbstruck. Crane-style Chi manual. Tang Tian answered honestly. Crane-style Chi manual. Sai Lei was moved. Her blue pupils flashed a look of surprise. She looked at Tang Tian from head to toe. I couldn't tell, young lad. You do have some skills. The Crane-style Chi manual is famous for being hard to train. Tang Tian's gaze landed on the sire tester. It looked exactly like a human. Its entire body was jet black, and it was the size of a human. The structure of its entire body was very precise, and even the facial features of its head could be distinguished. The joints of its limbs looked rather complicated. Tang Tian's fist collided with his opponent's iron fist. Level 4 is indeed suitable for my shop. Sai Lei understood, but felt it was strange, running to 3 Spirit City to buy a 4th level spirit card. You're really weird. It looks like you're using it for yourself. What's your 3rd step? Star treasures, because of their power, are used as weapons by everyone. But this is such a waste. The spirituality of the martial spirit in the star treasure is completely wasted. People only care about their power. As for the spirituality of the martial spirit, no one cares. Only those high-level star treasures, whose martial spirit can automatically train and become stronger, are favored by people. What a short-sighted human. Close-quarters combat expert. Sai Lei was stunned. I'm really curious now. Both parties' movements and fists were increasing in speed. Sai Lei was getting more and more nervous. She could no longer see both parties' movements clearly. Tang Tian's heart skipped a beat. So fast. Both parties were fighting in a very small area. It was dazzling to the eyes, so fast that it was hard to see clearly. His intuition was like a smooth mirror, clearly reflecting every detail of his surroundings. And then I completed Sai Lei's tester. Sai Lei said proudly. It was the first time Tang Tian met an opponent who had the same reaction speed as him. Those people in the past might have surpassed him in terms of martial techniques, but in terms of reaction speed, no one could contend against him. This was also why old Fartway suggested him to walk the path of a close-quarters combat expert. Tang Tian's reaction speed was fast, far exceeding the standard of an average person. Sai Lei was indescribably shocked. Tang Tian's attack speed was actually still increasing. She suddenly realized she had met with a freak. The black metal man's left palm made a circle in the air, and the sky full of broken images disappeared. His right fist was like an arrow shot from a bow. Sai Lei revealed a look of nervousness, while Bing looked extremely calm. Half a minute. Following Tang Tian's improvement, the black metal man immediately felt the pressure. Bang, bang, bang. Sai Lei's sonorous and slightly crazy voice resonated in the warehouse. But when the time reached 40 seconds, Tang Tian started to stabilize the situation. His attack speed once again increased, and the connection between his movements became more smooth and logical. The warehouse at the back was much bigger than expected. It was a full 200 meters long, much bigger than the Caramel Academy's training grounds. Inside, there were many strange tools and many machines. Tang Tian somewhat understood why Sai Lei liked the bronze mechanical ostrich so much. Tang Tian immediately became battered and exhausted. The black metal man's attack suddenly became like a torrential storm. Its chest emitted a wisp of flame, and in a moment, the flame leaped up. Tang Tian was shocked and recovered from his battle state, and immediately dodged to the side. But he was immediately attracted by Sai Lei's next words. Tang Tian was deeply attracted by Sai Lei's words, and subconsciously blurted out, "Star treasures?" In her eyes, both of their movements were like a ball of blurred shadows. Sai Lei's testing apparatus. Sai Lei's beautiful face was now serious and proud. "This is my most successful work. I have always been passionate about collecting all kinds of low-level spirit cards, and in my research on spirit cards, I have many discoveries. Spirit cards are the way to use power, and star rocks are the source of power. If these two are combined, wouldn't it be a perfect system? But I have spent a lot of time, but have never succeeded. Until last year, I realized that my idea was missing a crucial link, the star treasures." Tang Tian's attention was unprecedentedly focused, and the few martial techniques seemed to have become blurry in his mind. Tang Tian had already stabilized the situation, and not knowing if it was because of his unprecedented focus, the black metal man's torrential storm of attacks in his eyes did not seem to be that scary anymore. Tang Tian's reaction was also extremely fast, and he took the opportunity to pull and close in with a knee strike. But Tang Tian seemed to have predicted this, and his palm was like a lock, sliding swiftly to the black metal man's elbow joint, locking the elbow joint, and, at the same time, his own elbow bent into an acute angle and fiercely struck the black metal man's chest. "Young man, you are full of confidence." Sai Lei's red sexy lips slightly curved. "Speaking of which, I do have a few interesting cards here. Young man, what is your main martial technique?" A red flame appeared in Tang Tian's eyes, and those who were familiar with him knew that this was Tang Tian's fighting spirit starting to boil, but no one knew that Tang Tian's heart was as cold as ice at this moment. Tang Tian heard this and became spirited. "Don't tell me you want to fight with me?" The black metal man's legs suddenly exerted force, and his body, like an arrow, rushed towards Tang Tian. Fighting excitedly, Tang Tian's movements became faster and faster, and it was the first time he fought to his heart's content. It was not that easy to find a suitable sparring partner. The black metal man's few martial techniques Tang Tian could not name. They were strange and tricky. Tang Tian put his hands on his hips, and with a smug look, "Ha ha, that's right. I'm a godlike young man. If you have any powerful cards, feel free to use them." The black metal man who was hit froze. Without saying a word, he jumped to the side and punched to the side. At the side, Sai Lei's face changed slightly. She knew what this meant. It meant that the Sai Lei testing instrument thought that ordinary attacks were unable to pose a threat to Tang Tian. The Sai Lei testing instrument activated the strong mode. Under this mode, the consumption of star rocks would be doubled, and there was a possibility of the spirit card being burnt. But Tang Tian was not afraid. His movements became more agile, and all kinds of techniques were at his fingertips. These martial techniques were all practiced to perfection, and in terms of proficiency, Tang Tian was already impeccable. This was already the perfect standard in theory, and a higher level would be the Grandmaster level. That required a deeper understanding of this martial technique to be able to achieve it. But Tang Tian's state of mind did not waver, nor was he anxious. Instead, his fighting spirit became even more intense, and in the depths of his heart, his state of mind was like ice, and his intuition was like a mirror. Hearing this, Tang Tian wanted to object. Uncle Bing can train by himself. Suddenly, a cold light flashed in Tang Tian's eyes. The black robot's figure suddenly flashed. I suddenly understood. Isn't this the same as humans? Although we have meridians, true power, and dantian, but what activates them is still our brain. In the system of spirit cards and star rocks, there is no brain, and the star treasures just happen to make up for this point perfectly. When I started to add star treasures into this system, very quickly, I succeeded. She pushed open the door to the warehouse. Come on, young lad. Let's see how capable you are. He quickly fell into a disadvantageous position. A Grandmaster level standard would break through the restrictions of the level. Rank 4 mental cultivation type spirit cards. Tang Tian raised his hand. Do you have any special mental cultivation card? Tang Tian retreated a few steps. Such a strong force. The key was the black robot's fist force was very strange. It was like a drill drilling into Tang Tian's fist. His attacks and changes became faster and more logical. Fight with you. Silei laughed. I don't intend to fight with a close-quarters combat expert. The black robot similarly bent its knees. Tang Tian curiously leaned over. What is this? Until now, there has not been a precise explanation of how star treasures are formed. Star treasures of the same constellation often have some similarities, so humans name them after constellations. The most peculiar thing about star treasures is that they have martial spirits. The higher the level of star treasures, the closer their martial spirits are to humans. They can train by themselves, absorb and refine the energy around them. This is something that no other spirit general can do. Pa! His elbow struck the black robot's chest without any fancy moves, and the crane body energy surged in. Bang! Silei walked in front of the black robot. Come on, young lad. Let's see how good you are. Almost without thinking, his palm blocked the black robot's fist. Tang Tian's shoulder suddenly shrunk and bounced. Using an unconventional movement, his whole body crashed into the black robot's shoulder. Who knew that the black robot would backhand at the same time? Chapter 71. Bing did not make a sound and only stared at Tang Tian. He was much more experienced than Tang Tian in battles and was not surprised when Tang Tian fought with the Psi Lei testing instrument. In the past, the Southern Cross Army had such a similar existence. That was the peak of the ancient machinery era. Regardless of whether it was the machinery or the martial spirit, they were all important methods to train the recruits. Bing was extremely familiar with this. When the recruits first faced such simulated combat training, they would always be in a difficult situation, but as their experience increased, a qualified recruit would always be able to defeat a stronger simulation training partner. Although the Psi Lei testing instrument looked more refined, Bing was not too surprised. The training machines of their era, although cruder, were much more destructive. In comparison, the Psi Lei testing instrument was like a delicate toy. Bing thought to himself. He decided to throw this question to the side. Obviously, Tang Tian just happened to bump into it. For a rookie like him, how would he know how to fight? Tang Tian was not the least bit modest. He took the spirit card and was bursting with confidence. I will definitely be able to master the heavenly dragon energy. Bing's emotions were in turmoil. He was not as calm as he appeared to be. In his eyes, Tang Tian had always been a brainless young lad, a single-celled animal, a person who did not even have 100 fingers to count. Suddenly, he said such earth-shattering words that made Bing flabbergasted. Just now, Tang Tian was surprised. Oh, I just randomly thought of it. Isn't it supposed to be like that? Isn't that what Uncle Bing thinks? Silei's eyes lit up. Countless stars floated in them. Tang Tian felt his entire body turn cold. He shook his head firmly. Everyone's grievances are written off. Unless they offend me again, I will not take the initiative to do bad things. Bing suddenly said, "Do you have any books on the history of Three Spirits City?" Sai Lei felt as though his brain was struck by lightning. He was dumbstruck. "I have to look for it. Do you have any black steel? I'm a little hungry. I haven't eaten for a day." Bing did not believe that the Sai Lei testing instrument could defeat Tang Tian. Sai Lei's face was full of regret. "You're interested in Three Spirits City?" Sai Lei was a little surprised. Three Spirit City is not considered a big city in the spirit region. Its history is only about 1,000 years. "And why is it on fire?" Tang Tian said innocently. "That's right. The crane force is sharp. The dragon force is violent. If you're able to comprehend the heavenly dragon energy, the power of your every move will definitely multiply. Your current fighting style is already very aggressive. If you add in the heavenly dragon energy, the power will be even greater. Moreover, the conversion between crane energy and dragon energy would allow for more changes. Although the heavenly dragon energy is very difficult to train, you can even train the crane body. Godlike young man, I have high hopes for you." Bing did not reply, but stared at Tang Tian. "How did you think of that idea just now?" With that, Tang Tian waved at Sai Lei, jumped onto the bronze mechanical ostrich, and left with a rumble. "This guy always surprises people." Tang Tian listened attentively and mumbled, "Heavenly dragon energy." Sai Lei was stunned for a moment and suddenly forced a smile. "It's not your problem. Seems like this design still has flaws." The last pack of biscuits is finished. God, why is this world so hopeless?" Tang Tian was even more pleased, but his attention was immediately attracted by the spirit cards. "It must be powerful." Uncle Tang Tian Bing seemed to be stunned by his own words, and immediately became elated. The mind of a godlike young man is as vast as the sea." Tang Tian suddenly tilted his head and looked at the Sai Lei testing apparatus that had been burnt to ashes, and turned to ask Sai Lei, "Sai Lei, then do you want to start a new testing apparatus?" Sai Lei was stunned and immediately realized, "I know who it is." Young man, why don't you seize another opportunity and rob them again? They have many good things on them." Tang Tian was also preparing to leave when he heard Sai Lei suddenly say from behind, "Hey, godlike young man, remember to come and see my new results in a few months." "It's all water." Sai Lei spread out his hands. "Let me perfect my thoughts first. The black steel is easy to get, but the star treasure is not. I spent a lot of effort to get this star treasure. I can only play with low-level cards now. In this system, the higher the level of the card, the higher the requirements for the star treasure. It's very expensive. I have to save up for a while before we talk about it." It was hard for him to imagine such a person was actually neglected for a few years. "I just defeated a few fellows. They redeemed themselves. There was a young lady who did not have a spirit nucleus, so she took this sword," Tang Tian said indifferently. Without learning, he could have a new martial technique. Sai Lei immediately realized the value of it. Sai Lei didn't try to be pretentious and accepted it generously, teasing him. Tiska, young man, you really are young and rich, giving out an artifact in one go, so extravagant that even elder sister's heart is secretly moved. Sister worships money the most. I like rich men the most, although you're still young. Why not follow sister? Sister will love you. You don't even know about the spirit region? Where exactly did you guys come from?" Sai Lei's gaze was weird, but very quickly she frowned and thought, "If you guys go west, there will be a small library. Inside there will be a few related books. The introductions inside are very detailed. Honestly, I am only interested in ancient machines." Bing started to doubt himself. In her hand, there was an additional shiny silver spirit card. "You said at the start that you needed a rank 4 mental cultivation technique spirit card to be compatible with Crane-style Chi manual. I only have this for heavenly dragons. It is the true inheritance mental cultivation technique of Draco Constellation. Draco Constellation was once prominent, but it declined very quickly, similar to Heavenly Crane Constellation. I can see You have cultivated the crane body, the essence of the crane-style chi manual, the crane body energy, all the way until you reach the 5th level. You'll be able to unleash a considerable amount of power. When you reach the 6th level, unless you learn a higher level mental cultivation technique of the crane sect, if not, the crane body energy will not be able to unleash much of its power. 4 heavenly dragons is only at the 4th level. Draco Constellation's mental cultivation technique is very unique, from 1 heavenly dragon to 7 heavenly dragons. Only when you reach the 8th level will there be a true qualitative change called 8 groups heavenly dragon. It is extremely powerful. Other than 8 groups heavenly dragon, the most powerful aspect of this mental cultivation technique is the heavenly dragon energy. Silei winked at Tang Tian. Sounds like fun. Tang Tian's eyes lit up. The 2 cards were to his liking. Tang Tian's spirit was roused upon hearing that, and said loudly, "Then it's settled. Godlike young lady, you have to work hard." He was really looking forward to his own reminder. What kind of weird things would Silei come up with? The result was as he expected. Tang Tian obtained victory, but Tang Tian's words made Bing truly surprised. Bing's battle experience was plentiful. He immediately realized that Tang Tian's words contained an astonishing value. She stood there blankly, countless thoughts surging in her mind like a storm, colliding. That's right, no matter how intelligent the martial spirits were, they could never be compared to humans. To let them contend with martial artists was originally a wrong path. If this system was used to help martial artists fight, it would definitely be powerful. Tang Tian tilted her head and thought, I feel, although the Star Treasures have martial spirits and are very intelligent, but they definitely can't be compared to humans. Since that's the case, why don't you design it to be a support equipment? If that's the case, it would definitely be very powerful. It can help humans fight and is intelligent. If I have such a weapon and can use 5 types of martial techniques, then I will have 10 types of martial techniques, and others will definitely not be able to defeat me. Thank you. Bing turned and was about to leave. In that moment, countless inspirations emerged in her mind. She had many wonderful ideas. She suddenly had a feeling her own invention could possibly change the world. This laughable idea emerged in her mind, but it made her suddenly excited. Silei did not hide her admiration, and with a swoosh, another card appeared in her hand. You are indeed a natural close-quarters combat expert, but I realized you have a weakness, and that is your leg techniques. Your leg techniques, compared to your hand techniques, are much weaker. This double loop kick is very suitable for close-quarters combat. It is very unpopular, borrowing force to exert force. The attacks are continuous, and the energy is very strong. When unleashed, it is like a firecracker, very interesting. If you can comprehend the heavenly dragon energy and integrate it into your leg techniques, the power will be even greater. Could it be that she had always underestimated this fellow? Actually, he still had some intelligence. Godlike girl. Silei stared blankly for a moment before a smile appeared on her face. One interesting fellow. He seems to be quite rich. If I can't get a rich husband, then I'll get him a sponsor. Silei who has a sponsor? Wow, that sounds very powerful. Tang Tian could see that Silei was not at a suitable time to be disturbed, and tactfully did not call her, but chatted excitedly with Bing, dancing with joy. Uncle Bing, I feel like I improved again just now. Tang Tian scoffed, and in his hand a treasure sword appeared, and passed it to Silei. This treasure is for you. I don't use swords in my hands. It is useless. Just nice. You can use it to make a new testing instrument. Huh. Silei laughed. Oh. Then it must be powerful to be worthy of a godlike young man. People were always the smartest. Huh. As expected of a godlike young man. To help me solve a big problem. Silei's voice came from behind. That pair of enchanting eyes was currently in high spirits. Filled with confidence, she smiled sweetly at Tang Tian. I have decided to give you 2 cards for free. Why did I not think of that? Bing was very calm. Even if Tang Tian won, he was not too surprised. To him, Tang Tian had all the qualities that an outstanding soldier should have. Training was never discounted. Not only was he not discounted, he was also extremely stubborn towards training. And he never had stage fright during battles. He was a classic battle-type genius, a true battle maniac. Spirit region? Being acutely caught the two words. When she took it over to take a closer look, she could not help but exclaim, "Eh, Rabbit Silk Sword, Lepus Constellation's bronze treasure. This is the first time I've seen it." Chapter 72. Jing Hao glanced at the two of them, and when his gaze swept past Tang Tian, a strange look flashed past his eyes, but he did not stop and walked straight to his own room. This trip to Three Spirits City, Tang Tian actually had a lot of pin-up energy in his heart. Especially when he was dealing with the four young men, he was suppressed by their spirit generals to the point that he could not even lift his head. This made Tang Tian unhappy, extremely unhappy. He was actually suppressed by a spirit general. This was simply too suffocating. I did not volunteer. Tang Tian's face did not look too good. He had finally stepped into the fourth level. His own close-quarters combat expert was also at the entry level, and it was time to find Xie. The bald man's face revealed a desolate look, and his tone was low. "Big brother, don't tell me you don't know. The Big Tomb Outer Barracks is a famous place of exile. All the people who are sent here either have no future or have offended the higher-ups." "Big brother, did you offend someone? Then why can we come here?" Tang Tian asked curiously. Jing Hao looked tired, and there were some wounds on his body. Obviously, he had gone through an intense battle. Tang Tian did not speak, but a cold light flashed past his eyes. He just realized that he was sent here and was actually tricked by someone. Seems like it. Tang Tian also noticed this. The energy density here was close to zero, and it was the place with the lowest energy density he had ever seen. Suddenly, Tang Tian asked, "Then how does Jing Hao train?" "Stop them," the old man said without hesitation. "Don't bring trouble to Three Spirits City." His true power had long reached the third level of perfection, and breaking through the wall of perfection did not require any effort. It was a matter of course. Tang Tian immediately felt the difference between four heavenly dragons and crane-style chi manual. Although the crane body energy was sharp, but the true power itself was long-lasting. But the true power produced by the four heavenly dragons was extremely violent, as though the meridians were flowing with lava. A slight collision would cause the earth to shatter. Coming out from the library, Bing kept quiet. Here, resources will only be delivered once every 3 months. He would not be in any danger if he stayed near the outer camp. Once the range exceeds 50 li, it will become extremely dangerous. Then Boss must have offended someone. Baldy's tone was very certain. As soon as he returned to the recruit training camp, Tang Tian trained like crazy. When Baldy heard Tang Tian say that he wanted to leave this place, his gaze became extremely strange. After stepping into the fourth level, Tang Tian's true power had increased by 5 times. I didn't offend anyone. Tang Tian racked his brains, but couldn't think of anyone he had offended. Tang Tian decided to go outside and take a look. The consecutive double kicks that Sai Lei gave him was a rank 4 leg technique. Tang Tian needed to complete the first 3 levels of training. Tang Tian felt that Sai Lei was right. Actually, when he was fighting with the black metal men, he discovered his own weakness. His hand techniques were far superior to his leg techniques. Once the black metal men used leg techniques, Tang Tian would be abnormally embarrassed. Seeing this, Tang Tian felt that it was strange. What's with that expression? It's not easy to assemble the bronze mechanical ostrich. The old man's expression was solemn. Etiquette can be imitated, but assembling the bronze mechanical ostrich cannot be imitated. During the era of the 3 great armies, it was the peak of ancient machinery. The machinery then was much stronger than it is now. The bronze mechanical ostrich is one of the standard equipment of the Southern Cross Army. Its standard is obvious. You are right to be careful. Where did they go after that? Yes. Yushi hesitated. But I'm worried that Hua Ling and the rest will not be satisfied. I heard that the Spirit Transformation Rabbit Silk Sword was given to Sai Lei by that guy. Hua Ling has always liked that sword. Why is there an outer camp here? What's the difference between this and a cage? Tang Tian's face was unhappy. If there's a star spirit beast, you're all dead. Tang Tian did not think much of it. Tang Tian decided to ask Baldy. But, until now, no one has walked out of here. Baldy waved his hands. Those who were sent here are all newcomers with bad talents. They are all newcomers who failed in the competition. Everyone's talents are not good, and the resources here are limited. The energy density of the Honeycomb Mountain Range is very low. Without star rocks, there's no way to train. There's no use in training, so everyone is too lazy to train. Uncle Bing was deep in thought. He had been like that since 3 days ago. After 3 days, Senior Ghost Claw had once again returned to his previous state of nothingness. Tang Tian took a look. It was Jing Hao. After 3 days, the 4th-tier Dantian pool had completely stabilized. Tang Tian then felt relieved. Tang Tian suddenly realized that from the bottom to the top, the 4 Dantian pools were all different. The 1st-tier Dantian pool was like a teacup, as though it was empty. The 2nd-tier Dantian pool was like a spring, accumulating true power from the manual of fostering Qi, thread by thread. And the 3rd-tier Dantian pool was like a small pool, formed from the Crane Qi manual. It was like a sea of clouds, with a lingering aura. And the 4th-tier Dantian pool was like a volcano, with scarlet-red true power slowly flowing inside. Most of the newcomers are here voluntarily. Although it's tough, but I can enjoy the treatment of an iron-ranked martial artist, and my family can be taken care of. Anyway, my talents are bad, and I don't have a future. Earning some benefits is enough for my family. Baldy was optimistic. The Heavenly Dragon true power was much stronger than his previous true power. Until now, Tang Tian finally understood the difference between the 3rd and 4th level true power was huge. If he did not cultivate the crane body to use the 3rd level true power to fight against the 4th level true power, he could forget about it. Baldy explained. In the beginning, it was said to be because of the treasures, and then because of the star spirit beasts. In the depths of the Beehive Mountain Range, there are many strong and dangerous star spirit beasts. This place is very close to the center of Immortal Constellation Mountain. Once those strong star spirit beasts rush out from below, Immortal Constellation Mountain will face a direct threat. They need an outpost. Tang Tian began to train 4 heavenly dragons. A godlike young lad was not easy to offend. Raising his body, Tang Tian looked around. Tang Tian and Bing did not spend much effort and found the library that Silei mentioned. Big brother, you must have offended someone. Baldy's tone was firm. Even Master Jing Hao was sent here because he offended the higher-ups. The Big Tomb's outer barracks is famous. You can enter, but you can't leave. Danger lurks everywhere. There are many maze holes, and even the treasures that lead the way are useless here. Even the strong bronze ranked martial artists are unable to walk out safely. The higher-ups also hope that we could be the outpost here, and if we discover any dangerous star spirit beasts, we can warn them. Silei, the old man frowned and shook his head. Don't provoke her. Big brother, are you one of our honorable martial alliance's people? Baldy took a long time and then squeezed out the sentence. Yushi's eyes were filled with shock. Don't tell me. I went to Silei's card shop. Yushi laughed bitterly. After listening to Yushi's narration, the old man said, You said that the bronze mechanical ostrich was assembled by him? Tang Tian was determined to go out and find that bastard. But the heavenly dragon energy that Silei mentioned, Tang Tian still had no clue. But he was not anxious. Training the crane body made him understand the true essence. He needed patience and opportunities. Suddenly, a figure appeared at the entrance of the outer barracks. Tang Tian stared, and his expression was not friendly. If you have something to say it quickly. He shook his head and walked out of the door. Chie was in Rainbow City. He had to ask clearly first. Yushi was dumbfounded. It was the first time she saw such a solemn expression on her grandfather's face. Her heart was in turmoil. Silei, what exactly is your identity? This was Tang Tian's own plan. As for the Honorable Martial Alliance, that was purely a free ride. Tang Tian was not interested in the history of the spirit region at all. What history, just by listening to it, it was not very impressive. Such superficial content let Uncle Bing, this kind of uncle, waste his brain. This godlike young man, it was better to go and challenge the existence of martial techniques. That's for sure. Baldy agreed with Tang Tian's point of view. If Big Brother wants to leave, as long as his strength reaches the 5th level and is promoted to an iron-ranked martial artist, he can leave in a carriage. Even with Jing Hao's strength, it did not look easy. What a pity. He still wanted to find Jing Hao to compete. Tang Tian trained for a full 3 days to stabilize and consolidate the 4th level Dantian pool. Master Jing Hao is a bronze-ranked martial artist. His strength is valiant. He can go deep into the Honeycomb Mountain range. There are some energy pools there. Master Jing Hao trains there. Baldy explained, but it is too dangerous. Other than Master Jing Hao, no one else can go there. But if he knew who sent him to this godforsaken place, every time he advanced a level, his true power would increase in all aspects. Regardless of the quality or quantity, there would be a huge increase. Yushi's heart trembled. Yes, Yushi nodded. It was assembled by the spirit generals around him. I specifically interrogated Yu Bao, and he did not hide anything. Tang Tian opened his eyes and let out a long breath. It was different from the crane-style Qi manual. Between the breaths, there seemed to be sparks. Remember, do not provoke her. The old man's face congealed. Do not investigate this matter any further. Regardless of where that brat came from, it has nothing to do with us. Since he followed the etiquette of the Southern Cross Army, and since you have redeemed yourselves, then all grudges will be written off. The old man was still not at ease. He muttered to himself, I will inform the few of them. Let them be grounded to prevent any unforeseen incidents. The heavenly dragon true power immediately occupied the dominant position. But like what Sai Lei said, the crane true power that occupied 1/6 of the true power did not dissipate. Instead, it quietly merged with Tang Tian's heavenly dragon true power. What was surprising was that these two different types of true power were perfectly fused together. Especially when Tang Tian tried to use the crane body energy to activate the heavenly dragon true power. The sharp crane body energy did not change at all. The carriage is safer, but there are frequent accidents. Baldy said, Chapter 73. You're right. Jing Hao's expression became gentle, but he immediately sneered. Kong Yulin and his group of short-sighted fellows, they only recognize innate talent. Don't worry, they'll regret it. The so-called blood meridians refers to the power contained in your blood. But you're definitely not a blood meridian. He seemed to be very familiar with Lord Kong. Tang Tian was dumbfounded. More than 10. Isn't that like a plate of loose sand? Jing Hao pointed at the black plate. When you condense your martial spirit, you can use it to communicate with the others in the association. It has many other functions. Don't lose it. Kong Yulin was wrong. Jing Hao said lightly, but Tang Tian saw a hint of schadenfreude in his eyes. Jing Hao saw Tang Tian's bronze mechanical ostrich and was stunned. For the first time, curiosity appeared in his eyes. This is a bronze mechanical ostrich. Who are you kidding? Tang Tian was in disbelief. Advancing 1 level in 3 months, even Uncle Bing would not dare to brag like that. I want to leave this place. Tang Tian said directly, I want to go to Rainbow City. Jing Hao circled around the ostrich and sized it up. His face did not have the slightest bit of his usual calmness. He was like a curious baby, touching here and there. Tang Tian was astonished. He did not expect Jing Hao to be such an emotional person. Baldy said you offended someone. Tang Tian said, there was no such thing as day or night in the underground world. Darkness was everywhere. If not for the glowing moss that grew everywhere, this place would probably always be in darkness. All right, Tang Tian did not hesitate, but I want to go to Rainbow City. This was not something that could be achieved by the power of blood meridians. How'd you get here? Jing Hao put down his sword and asked lightly. No, it can't be. Tang Tian stammered with a dull look on his face. He didn't think that there would be a problem with this. He thought that Master Kong was a good person. Jing Hao was stunned. He took out his bronze plate. The sun in the center of the bronze plate flickered. They only gave you an outer barracks identity, which is actually convenient for you. I can give you the identity of an iron-ranked warrior, Jing Hao said without hesitation. But the condition is that you join my faction. Is there no other way? Tang Tian asked unwillingly. Although I'm only a bronze-ranked martial artist, it is not up to others to send me away. Although Jing Hao's expression was calm, the arrogance in his tone was naturally revealed. He continued, "The reason I came here is because this place is very good for cultivation." Because he was sent here? Jing Hao glanced at Tang Tian. This happens everywhere. Doesn't the school have it? It's just that the weight is different. That's right. Tang Tian nodded. Why? Tang Tian's face was unkind. Tang Tian was secretly pleased. He said proudly, "That's right." Tang Tian's face revealed anger. Damn it. Thinking about not being able to see Chia immediately, his mood immediately became extremely bad. That's true. Tang Tian thought about Zhou Peng and immediately felt relieved. Tang Tian clenched his fist tightly. But I will definitely beat them up. Generally, yes. But I think highly of you. With my authority, giving you an iron rank warrior is not a problem. Jing Hao said. He then said meaningfully, also, you are now at the 4th level. You're not far from the 5th level. Taking a deep breath, Jing Hao calmed himself down. He raised his head. Let's go. You will have plenty of time to explore in the future. Tang Tian found Jing Hao. Jing Hao was cleaning his sword. Its movements are too big. It will alert the star spirit beasts underground. Jing Hao glanced at Tang Tian. Also, as a martial artist, you should focus on raising your own strength. You should not borrow external forces. This is your iron-ranked honorable martial plate. It proves that you are an iron-ranked martial artist. Your monthly benefits will be transmitted to it. It is equivalent to an Aquarius martial cabinet that can transmit long distances. If you have anything you want to sell, you can also use it to transmit it to other martial artists. The two figures disappeared into the darkness. 3rd level martial spirit. If he did not see it with his own eyes, Jing Hao would definitely not believe it. Why do you think I am here? Jing Hao asked. It is beneficial for training? Tang Tian was stunned. The ancient machine is really powerful. I have always heard of it, but I have never seen it with my own eyes. Previously, I did not believe it. Now, I can only admire the standards of the ancient people. So powerful. Jing Hao let out a heartfelt praise. He stood up and changed his tone. Keep it. Jing Hao suddenly realized that he had really picked up a treasure this time. Jing Hao frowned. Where did you study in the past? Jing Hao ignored him. He wiped his own sword. His movements were gentle and his expression was focused. He treated Tang Tian as if he did not exist. No problem. I can send you out, Jing Hao said calmly. But I don't suggest you leave now. Jing Hao looked at Tang Tian. His expression was normal. What's the matter? Tang Tian shook his head. I don't like the honorable martial alliance. What a pity. Jing Hao's eyes were filled with regret and admiration. What a pity. He was not a sword cultivator. You are right. Jing Hao did not refute. Instead, he agreed with Tang Tian. When the Honorable Martial Alliance was first established, it was a very loose organization. It was even looser in the past. Normally, the authority was mostly in the hands of the division heads. Kong Yulin's sister is the division head of the immortal Constellation Mountain. But if you want to rise quickly, you could go to Heaven's Road. Although it is dangerous there, the accumulation of merits is far more than what you can achieve. His mind was connected to the bronze plate. He was stunned. It was Tang Tian. I used to be in Wuhan Star Wind City. Tang Tian said honestly, but my results were very bad. I practiced fundamental martial techniques for 5 years. At first, I was at Andrew Academy. Then I was expelled. Then I went to Caramel Academy. You practiced fundamental martial techniques for 5 years. Jing Hao sat up straight. He was shocked. Jing Hao softened his tone. Seems like I need to tell you about the Honorable Martial Alliance. The Honorable Martial Alliance is a huge organization. There are many internal factions. Some are because of differences in ideas. Some are because of benefits. There are about 10 different factions. Oh. Tang Tian took it and looked at it curiously. The black iron plate was about the size of half a palm. It was extremely hard. It was very heavy. The surface was covered with exquisite patterns. In the middle of the patterns was a sun. Jing Hao could no longer keep his calm. He opened his eyes and exclaimed, "You have already condensed a martial spirit." "Yes, I condensed it a while ago," Tang Tian said casually. He only needed to think for the words to reach Jing Hao's heart. Tang Tian felt that this thing was very interesting. Tang Tian did not have a good impression of the Honorable Martial Alliance. He felt that they were not as powerful as the rumors said. But after seeing this black iron plate, he finally understood how powerful the Honorable Martial Alliance was. Tang Tian was excited. "Iron-ranked martial artist. I think you have to be at the 5th level." "I understand," Jing Hao said indifferently. Kong Yulin is the most realistic person. His weakness is the training grounds. He has always viewed it as his proudest work. You destroyed it. No wonder he was sent here. Join your faction? Tang Tian looked at Jing Hao suspiciously. Jing Hao nodded his head. "You will know when you come with me to a place tomorrow." As expected, Tang Tian tried to use his martial spirit to connect with the black iron plate. Immediately, a list of names appeared. Jing Hao was one of them, but the others were gray. Only Jing Hao was bright. Tang Tian thought for a while and pointed at Jing Hao. "Keep it?" Tang Tian was startled. He immediately said, "My 3rd-level light body technique cannot catch up to you." "No." Jing Hao did not stop his hands. "If you do not reach the 5th level and leave the Big Tomb outer barracks, you will be chased by the Honorable Martial Group. Your strength is too weak." Jing Hao did not avoid it. "Your fighting strength is stronger than the average 4th-level martial artist. But compared to the average 5th-level martial artist, there is still a gap. Although Rainbow Star is not some powerful planet, the slightly more powerful ones are all 5th level and above. You will be at a disadvantage if you go there. If you have the patience to stay for another 3 months, I am confident that I can help you raise your level." Jing Hao looked at Tang Tian in a daze. He thought highly of Tang Tian. If not, he would not have used an iron-ranked martial artist to bribe Tang Tian. But he did not expect that Tang Tian had already condensed his martial spirit. Tang Tian said that he condensed his martial spirit during this period of time. That meant that when he was at the 3rd level, he had already condensed his martial spirit. Hearing that, Tang Tian kept the black iron plate. Tang Tian recounted everything that happened on the road. When Jing Hao heard Tang Tian talk about the weak point training grounds, a strange look flashed past his eyes. From Tang Tian's point of view, nothing happened on the road. "It's not a pity." Tang Tian shook his head. "I feel that the fundamental martial techniques are very useful." "What is a blood meridian?" Tang Tian extended his hand and asked. "If your talent is outstanding and your future is bright, he will not take this loss to heart. Instead, he will treat you well. But your talent is terrible, yet you can destroy the weak point training grounds. I am afraid he will think that the reason why you have your current strength is because of your blood meridian." Jing Hao rarely said so much. "Blood meridian?" Tang Tian was at a loss. "I want to leave this place now," Tang Tian said seriously. 3 months later, there will be a carriage coming. If you have reached the 5th level, you can follow the carriage and leave." Jing Hao said indifferently. "What method?" Tang Tian's spirit was immediately aroused. "You'll have a chance." Jing Hao did not have the slightest intention to dissuade him. On the contrary, he encouraged him. "If you want to leave, I have a way. I have high hopes for you." Jing Hao did not hide and said calmly. "Furthermore, you have inherited Senior Gnome's martial techniques. Senior Gnome was a core member of this faction when he was alive. No one will object to taking you in. Our faction is obsessed with pursuing strength. Usually, there are no trivial matters. Joining forces is only to protect our interests in the martial group. As for the grudges between you and Kong Yulin, the martial group will not care. We will not care either. You settle it yourself." Chapter 74. Oh, I remember, the energy crevice can also be used to refine spirits. Bing suddenly remembered. Tang Tian's face was filled with disappointment. Tang Tian stood up and stretched his body. After sitting for 5 consecutive days, his body was slightly numb. He executed the fist technique a few times, and his body was once again warmed up. Then he entered the light door. Bing nodded his head. Yes. This is an energy crevice. In the past, the army had one, but it was not in this encampment. I remember the biggest use of our energy crevice is to cleanse the body. Tang Tian finally knew why Jing Hao was so confident. The abundant energy here caused Tang Tian's true power to recover to be much shorter. As they continued to move forward, Jing Hao's expression became congealed and vigilant, his hand also placed on the sword at his waist. Don't tell me I belong to that category. Tang Tian pointed to his own nose. Hearing that, Tang Tian did not say anything and kept it. Until now, he then realized Jing Hao's sword was so fast. Sigh. He revolved his mental cultivation, only to see a few light balls immediately flying towards Tang Tian as though they were attracted. At this point, Tang Tian's hair stood on end, and his face changed. If not for Jing Hao just now, he would already be dead. He looked down at his feet with lingering fear. The black figure was sliced into two. Half of the body had a black wing. A cold light suddenly blossomed in front of Tang Tian. Finished, without any intention of stopping, he continued to move forward. Then what do we do when we attack? Tang Tian asked curiously. The opponent can easily defend against it. Tang Tian was curious. Could it be that it was not an energy pool? Tang Tian could naturally see these energy pools were undoubtedly the best place to train true power. The concentration of energy was already much higher than the usual places outside. If it was outside, such a place would have long been snatched away by the big powers. Only in such a dangerous and dark underground would no one care about it. Why is there such a mystical place in the world? Tang Tian stammered and asked. Seeing this, Tang Tian also sat down. Tang Tian thought for a moment. I want the 8 trigram steps. Fortunately, they didn't encounter any more terrifying things on the way. Suddenly, Tang Tian noticed that not far away, there were 30 large and small pits. These pits were less than half a meter wide, while the big ones were more than 10 meters in diameter. Tang Tian could clearly feel that the energy concentration in these pits was much higher than in other places. After Jing Hao finished his instructions, he turned around and left. Body wash. Tang Tian was attracted by this word. Uncle Bing, have you seen such a place before? Tang Tian could not help but ask Bing. Tang Tian followed closely behind, his gaze sweeping around cautiously, and asked softly, Are there many star spirit beasts here? Seeing that Tang Tian was very determined, Jing Hao did not force him. It's safe here, don't walk out of the crevice. Suddenly, a black shadow flashed in the darkness. Tang Tian was shocked. He only felt a gust of wind rushing in front of him. The speed was fast. It came so suddenly, he did not even have time to react. So normally, every 5 days, Jing Hao would go back and rest for a few days. That was his limit. How fast do you need to be? Tang Tian was surprised. A straight line was the shortest. This was a principle that everyone knew, but among the martial techniques, a straight line attack was rarely seen, because it was too easy for the enemy to see through it, and in battle, once the enemy saw through it, it meant that one was at a disadvantage. I still have too little understanding of the current martial techniques, and can't give more explanations. Bing said honestly, you don't need to wash, your body is very compatible with energy. Not long later, seeing that Tang Tian opened his eyes, Jing Hao said, I want to go back to the base to rest. What do you plan to do? Noticing Tang Tian's gaze, Jing Hao said, That's an energy pool. Yes, the human body is very strange. It's very strange. Some people are naturally not compatible with energy, so when they train, their progress will be very slow. Even if they train true power, their body will automatically reject the true power. Serious people are almost unable to train martial techniques, but these people are very talented in other aspects. 4 long journeys, he had the bronze mechanical ostrich. The other 2 light body techniques were not suitable for his fighting style. Only the 8 trigram steps was suitable for his close-quarters combat expert fighting style. After walking for another hour, with 7 turns and 8 turns, Tang Tian felt dizzy. It's a deep ground bat. Jing Hao's voice came into Tang Tian's ears. 5th-level star spirit beasts. Their speed is very fast. Look for them. There should be spirit nuclei. With that, Jing Hao sat down cross-legged and started training. Suddenly, Jing Hao squeezed into a small crevice. The crevice required him to turn sideways to squeeze in the underground. Such crevices could be seen everywhere. Tang Tian immediately followed. Jing Hao's sword was already sheathed. It was indeed a holy land for training. These rice-sized blue light balls were produced, blazed, and extinguished. Tang Tian was extremely focused. He only felt an indescribable comfort, a steady flow of true power. In the blink of an eye, the 4th-level Dantian pool was filled with true power. Tang Tian stopped absorbing the energy balls and started to instigate the true power in his body, circulating it along his meridians. Tang Tian was a little depressed. He was almost killed by a low-level star spirit beast, a lot. Jing Hao said, "So at the start, I thought there were treasures here. But then I realized there were too many star spirit beasts. It's still all right here. They're all low-level. The further down we go, the more powerful the star spirit beasts. Even the big shots in the association do not dare to enter. No one knows what's down there." 4 4th-level spirit cards, all silver grade. Flowing light steps, great pung wings, 8 trigram steps, 1,000 forest whirl. Jing Hao did not fly with all his might, obviously taking into account Tang Tian's terrible 3rd-level light body technique. This also gave Tang Tian the opportunity to see Jing Hao's light body technique up close. Jing Hao's advance was very unique, perfectly straight, as though it was measured by a ruler. Only when there was a need to change direction would the direction change, and it would be a straight line. When there was a need to change direction, the feeling was extremely weird, like a robot, stuck. Tang Tian, who passed through the crevice, was stunned by the scene in front of him. Flowing light steps, focuses on speed, and is very suitable for long-distance travel. Great pung wings, as flying height is not bad. If matched with a specialized martial technique, its power will multiply. 8 trigram steps. As transformations are complicated, it's about changing positions, but it's very difficult to learn. 1,000 forest whirl is suitable for dodging and flying in complicated terrains. Each has its own advantages and disadvantages. Jing Hao explained. Tang Tian did as usual, and once again revolved his mental cultivation technique and repeated it. "I don't know either." Jing Hao revealed a rarely seen infatuated look, but very quickly he regained his composure. "I found this place by accident. These energy balls have no attributes, and their energy levels are coincidentally at the 4th level, most suitable for your current standard. It's not much help to me, but compared to the outside, it's still much more effective. You can start training by yourself." Jing Hao did not object, and only said, "If your mind is too tired, you should rest well. Training is not something that can be done in a day and night." "No need, I'm not tired." Tang Tian did not lie. To him, 5 days of continuous training was really nothing. Tang Tian very quickly immersed himself in training. "These light balls are energy." Jing Hao's tone could not help but be excited. "Training in such a place, your training speed will greatly increase. Above us is the energy pool. The concentration of energy here is 100 times that of the energy pool. No wonder it's so scary. It's actually a 5th-level star spirit beast." 4 heavenly dragons. Tang Tian had just started training not long ago, and the meridians involved in the mental cultivation technique had not been completely developed. Tang Tian's true power was like a drill passing through the meridians with difficulty, continuously widening them. This process was extremely slow, and as it progressed bit by bit, Tang Tian's true power was quickly exhausted. A black shadow was sliced into 2. "I'll continue training," Tang Tian said firmly. "I brought dry rations." Low level, Jing Hao did not ask any further and passed the 8 trigram steps to Tang Tian. "Let's go." Jing Hao did not speak any nonsense and continued moving forward. All right, Tang Tian replied seriously. Jing Hao noticed that Tang Tian was observing his light body technique and said, "The light body technique I train in is ruler steps, and I walk in a straight line." Is that so? Is that so? So I'm that powerful. Tang Tian's eyes lit up. The bottomless abyss slowly floated with specks of blue light balls. There were so many of them. It was like a blue ocean. They kept surging up from the abyss, and when they floated up to the sky, they gradually dimmed until they were annihilated. That's right, but the biggest advantage of walking in a straight line is that the distance is the shortest, and the speed of walking in a straight line is fast. If you can increase your speed to a certain level, even if the opponent knows your intentions, they will not be able to defend. Jing Hao said indifferently. Fast enough. Jing Hao glanced at Tang Tian's light body technique, frowned, and took out a few spirit cards. Here are a few light body technique cards. See if there's anything you like. Tang Tian's face was still slightly pale, but he forced himself to calm down and quickly found the spirit nucleus of the deep ground bat. It was the size of soybean, black and shiny. Tang Tian passed it to Jing Hao, but Jing Hao shook his head. For you, I don't have any use for it. You're not. Bing explained, your body does not repel true power. The reason your talent is so bad is because your affinity with the 5 elements is very balanced. Truthfully, I am very curious about your current martial techniques. In our era, people like you are the best choice. We thought, only when the 5 elements are balanced will it not be easily countered by others. A light ball floated in front of him, and he extended his palm and caught the light ball. The light ball emitted a slight coolness, and the moment it touched his skin, the coolness drilled into his body, and Tang Tian's spirit was roused. Jing Hao opened his eyes. He looked at Tang Tian, who was meditating not far away, and his eyes flashed a trace of surprise. After 10 consecutive days of training, even Jing Hao himself could not take it. Training for a long period of time was extremely dry and tedious, and the state of mind was easily fatigued. He took a deep breath, and the armor on his body appeared. The faint blue peacock did not have any light in the darkness, and he tightened the gloves on his hands. The 5th day. Chapter 75. Sai Lei looked calm on the surface, but she was extremely anxious in her heart. She did not expect that she would be targeted by the Panda Bandit group. The Panda Bandit group was extremely vicious. The 3 of them were extremely ruthless and powerful. All the mechanisms in her shop were cleared by them. The leader was stunned and turned his head. Old Bai, I seem to remember him saying this before. Sai Lei was extremely anxious. She regretted opening her shop in such a remote place. Is the martial spirit very powerful? Tang Tian did not understand. Other than creating spirit cards, what other uses does it have? It's really a competition that I'm looking forward to. Bing nodded. But to start this competition, we have to find Sai Lei first. Since you want to die, I won't stop you. Bing stood up straight, his killing intent soaring. Tang Tian's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. You'd better pray that you don't get defeated by me. Ha! The thought of you hugging your head and crying in the shadow of my victory, that feeling must be awesome. Spirits? Tang Tian was attracted to Uncle Bing's words. Wah 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 wah. I want to duel with you. Come, Uncle, tremble in the shadow of this godlike young man. Tang Tian's face was sinister, pointing straight at Bing. Flower Panda squinted his eyes, his face full of bandit aura. Although his tone was slow, it had a hint of fierceness. Why bother? How much money does your shop have? We'll buy it. If you follow us, you'll eat and drink well. We're lacking a mechanic. And you're so beautiful, and I'm single. What a good match. What's the high level? Tang Tian asked. Bing turned his blank face, his tone calm, but to Tang Tian's ears, it was full of mockery. Sorry, you guessed wrong. I'm one of them. In the warehouse, Sai Lei was surrounded by 3 people. The surroundings were a mess. The floor was littered with all sorts of broken pieces of machinery. White Panda's face was full of smiles, and he took a step forward. Tang Tian's face was full of disdain. Seems like your army is lacking a godlike young man. The Southern Cross Army doesn't seem to be much. Young man, it'll be too late to regret it later. The taste of living a life worse than death will definitely become the best memory of your life. A voice so gloomy that it sent chills down one's spine came from the white face. Fourth level brat, how arrogant. Ignorant. Arrogant. Bing retorted sarcastically. Blackie said, too. The ostrich's head was laid flat, like a knight laying flat his spear. Lao Hei said coldly, when I was eating pig trotters the night before yesterday. Yes, Uncle Bing recalled and said, our martial techniques at that time were different from now, but our martial spirits were similar. At that time, we did a lot of research on martial souls. Later, we discovered that martial souls are actually a kind of energy imprint. In the beginning, it hid in the depths of one's mind and was extremely weak. Following the martial artist's cultivation of true power, the true power would continuously temper the body and it would gradually awaken. When a martial artist's true power reaches the fourth level, it just so happens to be a critical point. It will begin to awaken completely and gradually grow stronger. In our era, no one was able to completely understand the mysteries of martial souls. Now, it seemed that no one in this era had figured it out. Some people thought it was actually a kind of energy imprint. Some people thought it was a second consciousness. The theories regarding it are numerous and complicated. Martial souls are even more complicated than true power. Flower Panda began to roll up his sleeves, his face smiling. The thick and solid bronze bird's legs drew two dazzling sparks on the ground. In the blur of the wind, a strong arm wrapped around his waist. It was as though he was riding on the clouds, as though he was flying among the clouds. All the fear and dread disappeared in an instant. Suddenly, the ground started to tremble. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Black Panda was expressionless, but the killing intent on his body became even thicker. Silei looked at the three of them coldly, crossed his arms in front of his chest, and said with slight mockery, the famous Panda Bandit group actually took a fancy to a small character like me. It really makes me feel honored. Flower Panda, Black Panda, White Panda. Amidst the whistling of the sky and the splashing of rocks like raindrops, an unparalleled and terrifying force suddenly appeared. Tang Tan, who was on the back of the bronze mechanical ostrich, lowered his body, his killing intent soaring. Silei's face changed. The three of them's faces changed. Flower Panda's figure flashed and pounced toward Silei. The leader suddenly realized, I remember, damn, in the blink of an eye, Old Bai had already eaten 7. I only managed to bite 1. Damn it. Just wait to worship this godlike young lad. Tang Tian scoffed, his hands in his pockets. Tang Tian jumped up, his eyes open wide, and stared angrily. Hey, uncle, don't talk nonsense. Godlike young lad, what's a 10th level? Humph. They are all targets to be smashed into pieces by this godlike young lad. Ha! Tremble uncle. One man and one spirit stepped into 3-Spirit City. Not caring about Silei, he bent his body, gathered his true power, and fiercely punched behind him. At that moment, Silei's mind was in a trance. Bing, who was always mocking him, suddenly turned his face, his killing intent overflowing. Tang Tian did not show any weakness and stared back. The terrifying energy made his throat taste sweet, and his fist was in pain. He knew that he had broken a bone, and while he was overwhelmed with shock, he borrowed the terrifying energy and pounced to the side. Tang Tian's face drooped. This is a little too far away. Tang Tian rode on the bronze mechanical ostrich, like an ancient heavy-armored knight, stepping on thunderous rumbling sounds, the ground trembling and whistling to kill. Uncle Bing continued, although we have not figured out the essence of the martial spirit, but our research on it is not for nothing. The two most important elements of the martial spirit, one is the degree of solidification, the other is the degree of purity. But for any strong martial spirit, no matter what its ability is in these 2 points, there is no difference. It is definitely solidified and pure. The degree of solidification of the martial spirit and its degree of purity have a very close relationship. The two spiral upwards, it is very mystical. If you blindly strengthen the martial spirit, you will soon face a bottleneck. At this time, only by raising the purity of the martial spirit can it be strengthened further. At the same time, blindly raising the purity, you will also quickly reach a bottleneck. At this time, you need to strengthen the martial spirit. Then you can continue to advance. White Panda clapped his fat palms, his face full of smiles. If you are honored, then follow us. Tang Tian choked, but he immediately laughed coldly. You must be exaggerating on purpose. Whatever spirit refinement is not that scary. Bang! Flower Panda's face changed in midair. The mournful shriek behind him made all the hair on his body stand. Tang Tian's face darkened, riding on the bronze mechanical ostrich, rumbling along the street, rushing toward Sai Lei card shop. Old hey, what's with your eyes? Another fat man wearing a pure white fur coat could not help but shout. It's definitely an E. But this is not the main point. The main point is, what a pair of beautiful legs. Perfect, absolutely perfect. Snow white and smooth, perfect curves, perfect fat and thin, tender and soft. Wow, the best of the best. Heh, since it's an open and honorable competition, then of course we have to be fair. Bing's smooth white face seemed to have a cold ray of light flashing past. Training spirit device, such a thing that causes people to tremble in fear. Every recruit, upon hearing this name, would turn ashen. Of course it's powerful. Uncle Bing's tone became slightly serious. You will know in the future the lower levels of the world of true power, and at the higher levels, it's the world of martial spirits. I don't want to go anywhere. Sai Lei shook his head. After the 10th level, Bing said casually. One man and one spirit looked at each other angrily for a moment, then snorted at the same time, turned around, and went their separate ways. Heh, then you can try. Godlike young lad, do you dare to compete? Bing looked up, reminiscing. The time I lasted was 2 hours. Young lad, this is your chance to defeat me in an honorable way. It's really scary. So scary, godlike young lad. The warehouse door behind the three of them was smashed to pieces. Flower Panda saw through Sai Lei's thoughts and chuckled. No one will come. We have already hung up the closed shop sign outside. Seems like you still haven't given up. We can only take action. The two of you help me watch. I want to get closer to the beautiful Miss Sai Lei. Escape? Heh, I'm looking forward to your painful expression. The killing intent around Bing's body became denser. Go find Sai Lei. Pass this to her. Bing gave Tang Tian a piece of paper. I'll go buy the ingredients. Bang! Find her for what? Tang Tian laughed sinisterly. Uncle, you must be afraid. The two of them looked at each other angrily. Uncle, don't run away at the last minute. Tang Tian took the paper and clenched his teeth. See, one of them was a skinny young man dressed in a black fur coat, wearing white spectacles, squinted his eyes, and spat out a word. Why is no one coming? The three of them immediately revealed a look of alertness. Sai Lei changed. Her beautiful eyes suddenly lit up. Without hesitation, she screamed, Help. Tang Tian's face was filled with disdain. Of course not you, uncle. What an unexpected surprise. I never thought that Miss Sai Lei, other than being good with machinery, is also so beautiful, it really makes people drool. This is D right. The man in the lead swallowed his saliva, his gaze burning with greed. He was wearing a straw hat, dressed in a black and white fur coat. His body was strong, with a blade of grass in his mouth. Bing's face was filled with disdain. That's far? Godlike young man, you must be afraid. Tang Tian did not really understand. The content was too difficult for him. Humph. Uncle, don't tell me you're afraid now. Let me tell you, it's too late to surrender now. I will make you speechless. Tang Tian's face was filled with arrogance, and said fiercely. Tang Tian's head was full of black lines, and he clenched his teeth. I will make you lose convincingly. Hee. Every fellow, when they start, they make it sound so beautiful. Bing continued to mock and ridicule. Godlike young man, don't not even last 20 minutes, that would be embarrassing. Bing completely ignored Tang Tian's provocation. Speaking of which, using the energy crack to refine the spirit is a famous torture. In our era, Only the bravest recruits had the courage to use the energy crack to refine the spirit. Oh, now I still remember the miserable shrieks floating above the crack. Tiskadeske. I remember when I first entered the barracks, there were only 5 people who dared to do it. Chapter 76. The two of them looked at each other. Silei, who finally took a breath of fresh air, was prepared to stand up, but upon hearing Bing's words, her face started to burn up. The two of them screamed out in pain and crashed into the ground. Although she usually liked to act like a mature lady and tease the little boy, but in truth, she was rather conservative in matters between men and women. How could she face people in the future? Silei did not have time to resist and immediately lost her balance and fell into Tang Tian's embrace. At this time, the flying daggers appeared behind Tang Tian. Black Panda's technique was meticulous. The originally messy flying daggers in the air were now locked onto Tang Tian's every position. No matter which direction Tang Tian dodged to, he would be hit by the flying daggers. Silei wanted to find a hole to hide in, until after a while, she suddenly realized she had buried her face again. Tang Tian had completely forgotten that he was still pressing down on Silei. Silei was almost suffocated, and what made her feel even more ashamed was because her face was buried too deeply, and Tang Tian's movements were intense. She could feel something through her pants, occasionally bouncing or poking her face. 2 rows of snow-white teeth, like 2 rows of shiny hacksaws, overflowing with cold light. Silei's small and moist tongue, in Tang Tian's eyes, was like a wet sandpaper, rubbing against the blade with all its might, getting sharper and brighter. The distance between the two of them was quickly decreasing. White Panda suddenly bellowed, his short and sturdy body sinking down, both hands holding onto the rod, sweeping away the army. A few sparks flew. Black Panda retreated a few steps, his heart trembling. Silei, who was initially embarrassed upon seeing Tang Tian's sorry state, laughed out loud and became even more pleased. If anyone were to see Silei now, they would definitely be captivated by her flirtatious demeanor. Warmth entered his embrace. At this time, Silei finally struggled to crawl out from Tang Tian's embrace and sat up straight. The 3 people below were dumbstruck. Tang Tian's body stiffened and his expression stiffened. Tears welled up in his eyes. Below, the White Panda and Black Panda kept changing their positions, their eyes flashing with an ominous glint. They were waiting for Tang Tian to land and give him a fatal blow. Tang Tian couldn't speak for a long time. He was in so much pain that tears came out of his eyes. His body was bent like a shrimp. Silei was completely flustered. This is, at this moment, Tang Tian suddenly shouted angrily, "Blue peacock!" A few beams of black light shot out from Tang Tian's wrist. "Tang Tian, you're injured?" In a blink of an eye, Bing rushed in front of Tang Tian. Bing's efficiency was astonishing. With his strength, the 3 men from the Panda Bandit group were not his match and were taken care of in an instant. Bing, who was filled with rage, did not say a word. He used a rope to tie the 3 of them up tightly. He wanted Tang Tian to personally kill the 3 of them to appease the hatred in his heart. Bing, who had just tied the 3 of them up, suddenly heard a scream coming from above him. Bing raised his head and looked at the little black dot in the sky. His heart was filled with sympathy. Sagittarius constellation's black iron treasure, small universe, sleeve dart. The steel-like young lad could not bear such an injury. It must be very scary. Silei only felt a huge force coming from the back of his head. Pa! His face was buried. Tang Tian laughed out loud. His gaze was locked onto the White Panda in front of him. Wait a minute. A black figure appeared from the side like a ghost, pouncing towards Tang Tian. It was Black Panda. Black Panda's skinny face was overflowing with killing intent. It was ice cold. Unknowingly, there were a few flying daggers in his hands. With a flick of his wrist, the flying daggers flew out. Tang Tian had long sensed the moment Black Panda's flying daggers left his hands. Tang Tian, who had gone through the training to take a beating, had an extremely sharp intuition. Without turning his head, he extended his wrist backwards. The speed of the sleeve dart was extremely fast. Black Panda's eyes flashed with a cold light. He suddenly stopped his body. In his hands, there were two butterfly daggers. His hands were like butterflies flying, and the daggers flickered. Ah! The sound of the rod was low and deep like a beast's roar. Tang Tian was extremely pleased. He faced the sky and laughed. Ha ha ha! Idiot! Don't treat an ostrich as a bird. Tang Tian was secretly shocked by the power of this move. However, his mouth suddenly surfaced a sly smile. Tang Tian's expression of fear was too cute. So embarrassing. Whoosh! Tang Tian, who was laughing to the sky, was like a swan whose throat was being choked. His cries stopped abruptly. Bing tilted his head and looked at the rising dust. He thought to himself, damn brat. Hey, young lad, go down. Your spirit, general, seems to have settled the battle. Silei laughed. From afar, a figure rushed over like lightning. Bing's eyes were burning with anger. His killing intent was boiling. It was so painful that he could not even control the bronze mechanical ostrich. Young lad Tang must have injured his mind. Such a serious injury would be difficult to recover from. His expression froze on his face. His other hand was frozen in midair. His body was as stiff as a statue. After a full 3 seconds, Tang Tian suddenly let out a shocking scream. Tang Tian roared and lowered his body again. The bronze mechanical ostrich rumbled and rushed towards the white panda. Rumble, rumble. Boom. The sudden weightlessness did not scare Tang Tian. But when he was suddenly hugged by Silei, it scared Tang Tian. His face was drained of blood. Silei's mind was blank. Her face was burning. Unfortunately, Tang Tian was in a hurry. He did not hold back his strength. His grip was solid, and Tang Tian was afraid that she would move. His vision would be obstructed again. His right hand pressed on her head tightly. The black panda's face was ugly. This brat who appeared out of nowhere was not very powerful, but he had many treasures on him. He actually relied on treasures to force him to retreat. The black panda's anger was unimaginable. Did his injury become more serious? Suddenly, the bronze mechanical ostrich stopped in midair. The bronze mechanical ostrich's wings that were stuck to the side of its body suddenly extended and flapped rapidly. The bronze mechanical ostrich carried the two of them and floated in the air. Silei was so embarrassed that she was about to cry. The white panda and black panda ran to the bottom of the hole and looked up at the sky. Silei's hair was blown by the wind. Tang Tian gritted his teeth. He could not care less. He reached out and pressed on Silei's head. He roared, "Get down." The Silei in Tang Tian's eyes was completely different. Suddenly, a shadow appeared on the armor. Clang, clang, clang. The thick and strong bronze mechanical ostrich's legs suddenly sank. Tang Tian, who did not know what he was doing, had already completely entered his battle state. His gloves were enveloped in green flames. The elegant and beautiful blue peacock floated out. The feathered armor undulated like waves, his eyes sparkling with red flames. Silei's beautiful eyes were like lightning. Her breath smelled like orchids. Her voice was filled with temptation. Don't tell me you are a young man. You want to do it again? The black panda's cold face had a hint of anticipation. Very few people knew that the white panda's short and fat body was born with divine strength. In addition to his excellent earth element talent, his panda rod technique was trained to its peak. Its power was so strong that he had never lost in a head-on clash. Ding, ding, ding. This place, little ostrich, kill. She felt that it was getting harder to breathe. That thing was poking her from time to time. She was embarrassed and hateful. In a moment of desperation, she did not care about anything else. She opened her mouth and bit down hard. A powerful force suddenly exploded from the bronze mechanical ostrich's legs. The bronze mechanical ostrich soared into the air. It seems to hurt even more. Tang Tian did not control his strength well. Silei sat face to face in front of him. The space on the bronze mechanical ostrich's back was enough for 2 people to sit on. But Tang Tian's vision was blocked by Silei's hair. He panicked. Ha! He pulled Silei's body into his embrace. Xiao, xiao, xiao. Woo woo. Silei felt that her face was completely buried by something. She could not breathe. She wanted to speak, but she could only make muffled sounds. Seeing the tears welling up in Tang Tian's eyes, the anger in Bing's heart surged. He was very clear that Tang Tian was a strong person. He had never seen Tang Tian cry before. No matter how painful it was, how tough it was to train, how tough it was to fight, Tang Tian had never cried before. So scary, Bang. Silei's face was flushed red. Suddenly, it became ice cold. Her killing intent soared. Tang Tian's scream was even more heart-wrenching than before. It spread far and wide like a hurricane. Ava! The sudden weightlessness caused Silei to turn pale with fright. She was so scared that she hugged Tang Tian. A weird whistling sound filled their eardrums. The flying daggers were as fast as lightning. They were enveloped in a layer of faint light. They floated in the air, making it hard for people to defend against them. The warehouse's roof was smashed open. 2 people and an ostrich rushed high up into the sky. A few feathers suddenly stood upright. They suddenly broke free and shot out. A few rays of blue light appeared in the sky. Ding, ding, ding. Every ray of blue light hit a flying dagger. None of them missed. In the faint yellow light, a ferocious and wild panda could be seen roaring. Tang Tian was a young man of steel. He must have suffered a lot of injuries. How much pain did he suffer for him to be in so much pain that he cried? Bing's eyes were filled with killing intent. He threw down a sentence. None of them can escape, and rushed downwards. Tang Tian's pale face became even paler. He shook his head like a rattle drum. He hurriedly urged the bronze mechanical ostrich to fly downwards with all his might. Tang Tian, who was still in shock, made a mistake. The bronze mechanical ostrich's buoyancy was actually very small. It was just enough to keep them floating in the air. Tang Tian made a mistake. The bronze mechanical ostrich's wings suddenly stopped. White Panda had a bronze rod in his hand. Facing the charging bronze mechanical ostrich, his round face did not show any signs of retreating. Black Panda's pupils constricted. He cried out involuntarily. He wants to. The terrifying rod's shadow brushed past Tang Tian's body. Tang Tian's body trembled. He was overwhelmed with shock. It was as though the energy wanted to drill into his body. This rod was actually so strong. Silei, who was originally filled with anger, saw Tang Tian in such a state. She was secretly pleased. Her anger dissipated by half. She extended her slender fingers. Her bright red fingernails gently hooked onto Tang Tian's chin. Her small and moist tongue gently licked her snow-white teeth. It was as though she was reminiscing and praising. The taste is not bad. Suddenly, Silei's body froze. Who knew that with this leap, the bronze mechanical ostrich would rush to a height of 60 m in the air? However, after the leap, the ostrich that had reached the highest point began to fall. The 5th level of true power was pushed to the extreme. The rod's shadow could only form such a scene. Was this guy a beast? How could he have such strength? What made her even more helpless was that no matter how she struggled, Tang Tian's hand did not move an inch. Chapter 77. When Tang Tian walked out, he heaved a sigh of relief and muttered to himself, "This woman is too scary." He was laughing at himself in his heart. He had endured for so many years, but at this time his state of mind was unstable. Tang Tian's body froze, but quickly returned to normal. There's no problem. Tang Tian felt extremely awkward and immediately changed the topic. Bing, where are we going to find spirit nuclei and jade spirit steel? Silei inspected the materials and looked at Bing in surprise. This is the first time I've met a spirit general who is very familiar with machinery. Bing glanced at Tang Tian strangely. Tang Tian was suddenly distracted, and his mood seemed to be somewhat low, but suddenly he became full of fighting spirit. Scary. Bing was surprised, but very quickly he asked Tang Tian, "Are your injuries serious?" Silei shot forward, raised her high heels, and consecutively delivered 3 kicks to the heart. Puff, puff, puff. But Tang Tian was clear. Nothing was more important than strength. Tang Tian let his imagination run wild. Good. Then I'll do the work in front. Silei's eyes flashed a trace of fanaticism and excitement. She seemed to have changed into another person, her whole body brimming with strong self-confidence, and there was no trace of her usual laziness and blurriness. Ancient, Tang Tian was at a loss. Bing's era, he already felt that it was far beyond his imagination, and the era that was even more ancient than Bing. Tang Tian's head started to hurt. The power of the high heels at this moment was completely released. The faces of the three were like noodles in a pot being stirred by chopsticks, tangled together. "You'll know when the time comes," Uncle Bing said. "There are all kinds of strange things. There are all kinds. Some star spirit beasts will also absorb martial spirit fragments. These star spirit beasts will become very powerful and very difficult to deal with. The star spirit beasts in the spirit region will be stronger than outside. You have to be careful. The strength of the martial spirit is determined by two factors, congealing and purity. Devouring the martial spirit is one of the simplest, most direct, and can quickly raise the degree of congealing. But this method is not without side effects. It will cause your martial spirit to become even more heterogeneous. The more it devoured, the more heterogeneous it became. This was also the origin of the soul refining tool. The soul refining tool can greatly purify the martial spirit. Other than pain, there are no other side effects. Tang Tian followed Bing out of Three Spirit City. "We discovered this problem long ago," Bing muttered, although we did not completely understand it, but we have a few guesses. Some people guessed that beneath the martial spirit hall was an ancient tomb. In the ancient era, there was a custom of being buried together with the dead. When the emperor was buried, many generals would choose to follow him. This kind of practice seems very stupid now, but at that time, this kind of custom was very popular, and the generals were proud of it. But we did not expect the spirit region to be so big. Now, I really doubt whether this guess is correct or not. Saying so, he took out a pile of materials. "Hurry up and find the materials." Sai Lei, who had already started working, did not even raise her head. "I have prepared some small things for them. They will definitely like it." Upon walking out of Three Spirit City, it was a completely different scene. What entered his eyes was a desolate wilderness. Occasionally, a few scattered withered trees could be seen, and an indescribable sense of desolation rushed towards them. "Andre?" Sai Lei raised her head, frowned, and thought for a long time, then shook her head. "Never heard of it." Tang Tian passed the blueprint that Bing gave him to Sai Lei. Uncle Bing said, "Can you make this?" But the young me also has a determined heart. Sai Lei sneered. "You guys are too naive." Sai Lei's face regained its usual calmness. "Wait a moment." Bing's tone then became more normal. "Your standard is not bad. This time tomorrow, we will replenish the two materials." Bing was indifferent. "My standard is average. The changes here are too big." Bing's tone was somewhat emotional and sorrowful. "The blue sea has turned into mulberry fields. I don't know how the hunting spirit region has changed. If it is not too different from what I remember, then I know where to find the earth and water spirit nucleus and jade spirit steel. When the time comes, I will ask if the immortal constellation rainbow star has an entrance to the spirit region." As expected of the design of the golden age of machinery, such a genius design could only appear at that time. Sai Lei muttered to herself, "This place I need to think, I understand, used 8 circuits to solve it. Heavens, that era's understanding of the martial spirit had already reached such a stage is truly too shocking. Don't look down on me." Sai Lei suddenly raised her head, somewhat dissatisfied. Her eyes floated a tinge of arrogance. Although the genius mechanics of that era were worshipped by people, but to me, who wanted to become the greatest mechanic of this era, I do not lose to them at all. "He is called Andre," Uncle Bing suddenly said. Tang Tian's face was pale as he bent his waist and walked into the card shop. The 3 pandas were tied up, and the brass rod of the white panda pierced through them. "The materials are more or less complete, but we are lacking 2 important materials. One is the earth and water dual attribute 4th level spirit nucleus. The other is the jade spirit steel. Chia must be very, very powerful. Chia was already so powerful in the past. I cannot fall behind too much. We agreed to go to Heaven's Road together. If I cannot protect Chia, then I will be too useless. Why are there ancient martial spirit fragments constantly appearing? Tang Tian could not help but ask. Sai Lei glanced at Tang Tian. Seeing that Tang Tian was somewhat indecisive, she immediately said, "Settle it for me. Can you do it?" Bing's stiff voice came out. Hearing this, Tang Tian shivered. His face did not change. His legs quickly moved to the side, pulling apart the distance. She quickly took out a piece of paper, scribbled. After a while, she passed the paper to Tang Tian. "This is the list of materials I need." Tang Tian secretly clenched his fist and said to himself. Hearing Sai Lei's murderous words, Tang Tian distanced himself. This crazy woman was simply unreasonable. It was better to stay away from her. Sai Lei saw the three of them, the anger in her heart surging. If not for these three assholes, she would not have been so embarrassed today, would not? Bing's introduction always made Tang Tian feel that it was broad and profound. Sai Lei took the paper, lowered her head to look. She was immediately deeply attracted by the paper. Her eyes could not move away from it. Training spirit device. The legendary training spirit device. Such a strange structure. So ingenious. Powerful. Exactly which genius designed this? Hunting spirit region. It was the first time Tang Tian heard of these three words. I do not know what the other spirit regions are like, but the martial spirit chamber back then did not have day and night. It was very strange. This place is always gloomy. There are very few plants in the martial spirit chamber. This place is not suitable for plants to survive. The ancient martial spirits, the fierce chi, is very heavy. This place was once seen as a dangerous place. You can understand why people think that the underground is a tomb. Bing floated forward and said, "As expected, the changes are huge. In the past, there were already many ancient martial spirits here. Because there are large amounts of ancient martial spirit fragments here, and it is very beneficial for training martial spirits. Very quickly, the spirit region became a place where human activities are frequent, and cities started to appear. But there are some places with too many ancient martial spirit fragments, and they will appear regularly, full of danger. Such areas are not suitable to build cities, so they specially demarcated it as the hunting spirit region. These three captives, are you sure you don't need us to deal with them?" Bing stopped and asked before walking out of the door. The hot potato could finally be sent out. Tang Tian's heart was filled with sympathy for these three, falling into the hands of such an evil woman. What awaited them was definitely a fate worse than death. "How do you plan to deal with them?" Uncle Bing asked Tang Tian. "He is not famous, but he is an outstanding mechanic, the number 5 mechanic of the Southern Cross Army." Uncle Bing said indifferently. In truth, he had never thought that there would be such a strange place in this world. Three Spirit City was an eye-opener for him. He did not know if Chie had been to the spirit region before. Oh, Chie should have been here before. He did not know if he could meet Chie in the spirit region. But from what Uncle Bing said, there seemed to be many entrances to the spirit region. To the hunting spirit region, Bing said, "Yes, I saw a few books about the spirit region and finally understood what was going on." Bing said while walking, "Probably in the later period of the Scorpio dynasty, the martial spirit chamber was no longer a secret, and more entrances were discovered, and more people rushed into the martial spirit chamber. There were many unknown places in the martial spirit chamber, and they were continuously opened up. The current spirit region, compared to the martial spirit chamber of our era, is more than 10 times bigger." Bing's attention was quickly attracted by the familiar scenery not far away. As expected, the three's faces changed. A trace of fear flashed past Flower Panda's eyes, and he shouted, "Bitch, just give me a quick stab. You guys still dare to have ideas on me?" Sai Lei raised her proud face, her eyes filled with disdain, and said with contempt, "You guys are lucky. If anything happens to me, you guys will regret coming to this world." "Oh," Tang Tian replied absent-mindedly. Actually, if he had to stay for a few more months, it would disrupt his plans, and Tang Tian was unhappy. He originally thought that he would be able to meet Chies soon, but he did not expect it to be delayed again, and the young lad's mood was slightly down. "Sai, If Three Spirit City had other entrances, then wouldn't he be able to leave directly from the spirit region? My state of mind is still not mature enough. Mature. Forget it. Tang Tian's heart calmed down. What does the ancient martial spirit look like? Tang Tian was extremely curious. Bing heard and did not speak anymore, and left with Tang Tian. He raised his head again. Tang Tian nodded his head. All right. Tang Tian was stumped. How should he handle these three fellows? Kill them? If it was a battle, Tang Tian would definitely be able to do it, but with their current state, Tang Tian could not do it. Tang Tian listened attentively. Tang Tian passed the list to Bing. Bing glanced at it and nodded his head. I've prepared some. Why are you guys looking for me? Sale did not care about the three and turned to ask Tang Tian and Bing. Chapter 78. Tang Tian shook his head like a rattle drum. Forget it. I already have a problem taking care of myself. Why would I bring a pet? I don't want it. Also, please, can you not be more stubborn than me? This rascal would never think that the mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Bing was excited. Even if they could get one, they would have made a fortune. Recognize me as your master? Tang Tian was stunned, pointing at his own nose. Boss, you really have foresight. The Bud Spirit General put down the spirit nucleus in its hands. With a face full of excitement, its two hands gestured continuously. Tang Tian frowned and thought for a long time. Let's call it Yaya. Tang Tian imagined for a while and stuffed this little person into his mouth. Its little hands and feet struggled in his mouth, immediately fell to chill, and shook his head. Forget it! Bing's tone was immediately full of ridicule. In the past, there were at least 800 people named Yaya, if not 1,000. Ha! The Southern Cross Army's Ordnance Warehouse. If it was any other time, wasting a spirit nucleus would definitely make his heart ache, but Tang Tian, who was entangled by this little thing, was relieved to be able to use one spirit nucleus to settle this matter. Tang Tian's mouth was wide open. He was completely stunned. Don't bother about it. These little things are not threatening, but they are hard to kill. Oh, you can swallow it. This method is very effective. Bing said. Behind a piece of rock in the distance, a few people suddenly appeared. His face revealed a cold smile. Tang Tian rolled his eyes, but there's only one now. He just ran 2 steps, and then from the corner of his eyes, he saw a small figure on the rock at the side, chasing closely. The Bud Spirit General was like an elastic ball, bouncing from one rock to another. Its speed was extremely fast. It noticed that Tang Tian was looking at it. It raised a little bow in its hands and fiercely bared its fangs at Tang Tian. Oh, Bud Spirit General, Bing casually said, this thing is everywhere. They are basically evolved from the lowest grade martial spirits. These ancient martial spirit fragments, after a long time, would transform into spirit generals. Bud Spirit Generals were the weakest spirit generals and were usually around the 2nd or 3rd level. But you have to be careful. They are very difficult to destroy. The purple-scarfed leader sneered. If you say they are fools, then you guys are more or less the same. It was a huge red rock that was about 20 meters tall. It was as red as rust, and its texture was abnormally hard. It was like a lonely warrior standing in the desolate wilderness. The toothpick little gray arrow immediately shattered. Small universe sleeve dart. In the past, the Southern Cross Army was one of the 3 great armies, and what they were most worthy of praise for was their unparalleled bronze machinery. The Southern Cross Army was publicly acknowledged to be at the pinnacle of the mechanical era, and even the Scorpio dynasty that was famed for their machinery was actually on the decline. His fist seemed to hit something soft. A gray shadow hit the opposite stone and bounced back. Tang Tian suddenly realized that his words were inappropriate and immediately apologized. Uncle Bing, I'm sorry. Soul Core. Upon hearing this, Tang Tian, who was long annoyed, threw a green sandalwood ape's soul core without saying anything. The Bud Spirit General was actually bounced back by the sleeve dart. Oh, he said he recognized you as his master. Bing, who was at the side, was familiar with the place and acted as a translator. Then let's go. Bing took the lead and walked inside. Oh, As long as you accept a small spirit general, the other small spirit generals will not disturb you. Bing added. The burly man's face was immediately filled with embarrassment. But what he did not expect was that, just as he discovered something, he saw someone riding on a bronze mechanical ostrich running wildly on the streets. Yes, Bud spirit generals are the easiest to bribe. Usually you just need to throw a soul core to them, and they will be bribed. They're good as pets. They're very smart. Bing was obviously very familiar with them. Bing floated to the side of the boulder, gently caressed the red boulder. With a myriad of emotions, he muttered, "You are still the same as before." Tang Tian immediately reacted. The image of the densely packed Bud spirit generals surging towards him suddenly appeared in his mind. He quivered, immediately changed his mind, and hurriedly nodded. All right. You can follow me. What's there to be sorry about?" Uncle Bing's voice was as usual. No matter how powerful the army is, there will be a day when it will disappear. What in this world can be eternal? This is the law of nature, but we left our mark in that era, and that is enough. What is that thing? Tang Tian swallowed his saliva and asked with some difficulty. Tang Tian also had a headache. It was like what Uncle Bing said. There was no end to this thing. Without saying anything, he broke into a run, trying to get rid of this troublesome fellow. "Boss, you can even guess this kind of thing. You are too amazing." After staring at the ruins for a moment, Bing said, "Let's go in." Suddenly, Tang Tian sensed something and fiercely punched to the side. The little thing was not injured. It jumped up agilely. Until now, Tang Tian then saw clearly it was a small spirit general the size of a fist. Tang Tian was stunned. He had never seen such a small spirit general before. Although the little spirit general was small, its armor was neat, vivid, and lifelike. Following Bing forward, Tang Tian suddenly felt the surroundings suddenly became cold. In the wilderness, a stone forest appeared in front of Tang Tian. Strange rocks, each one towering. The stones were deathly white, gloomy, and extremely terrifying. Just as Bing finished speaking, the Bud Spirit General rolled down from the stone with a cry. It raised the bow in its hand, shwa shwa shwa. It shot a few arrows at Tang Tian. This punch was solid. The little Spirit General flew back at an even faster speed, deeply embedded in the stone, forming the word. Sure enough, money makes the world go round. The Bud Spirit General also fell for this trick. A direct hit. Tang Tian was not used to it. He had never reared a pet before. Tang Tian turned his head to look, only to see the Bud Spirit General hugging the spirit nucleus, following Tang Tian step by step. Tang Tian did not retreat. He spread out his hands. "I have already given you the spirit nucleus. Why are you still following me?" Tang Tian had just moved a step. His heart was suddenly alarmed. He suddenly turned around and waved his fist. Tang Tian heaved a sigh of relief. He was nailed into the stone again. Bing did not say a word. Tang Tian regained his mood, lifted his leg, and continued to walk forward. With a flick of his wrist, a ray of black light flew out. Poof! Tang Tian was overjoyed. He had tested the power of the sleeve arrow. Such a thick tree trunk, it could completely pierce through this annoying thing. This time it would not be able to escape. "Be careful," Bing reminded Tang Tian. A few others were surprised. They did not think this young man would really enter the ruins. The Bud Spirit General's face was filled with anger. It squeaked angrily, jumped up high, once again raised the small bow in its hand, and smashed it down towards Tang Tian's head. The familiar scenery made him feel as if he had returned to his younger days. The Bud Spirit General flew out once again. An accurate hit. He immediately realized this person was definitely coming for the ruins. The Bud Spirit General's expression froze on its face. Its small nose twitched twice. The anger on its red face immediately dissipated. Shwa 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 a few times. It rushed in front of the spirit nucleus. Its eyes squinted, the small bow and arrow on its back, both hands hugging the spirit nucleus. The little spirit general squeaked angrily and fiercely shot towards Tang Tian. The small bow in its hand was raised high and smashed down towards Tang Tian. Tang Tian was silent. However, the following scene made Tang Tian dumbstruck. After a moment, the angry squeaking like a mad dog running from behind a rock came closer. When the Bud Spirit General appeared on the rock again, its small face was completely red with anger. It waved the small bow and arrow in its hand with all its might, as if it was about to rush over. The bronze mechanical ostrich was also one of the symbols of the Southern Cross Army. The Bud Spirit General's small mouth flattened, tears like pearls falling down, pa pa pa. As it cried, it angrily used its small hands to wipe its tears. The Bud Spirit General's tears were gone. Its face full of joy, it eagerly hugged the spirit nucleus. Suddenly, Putt bounced on the ground, drew an arc, and jumped onto Tang Tian's shoulder. The purple scarf leader's face did not have the slightest bit of complacency. Everyone be alert. That lad spirit general is very powerful. Even the Panda Bandit group suffered a setback in his hands. We can't fail miserably. Tang Tian quivered and immediately reacted, facing the flying little spirit general. He punched again. Give him a name. Bing said. Very quickly, they passed through the stone forest and arrived in front of the ruins. Boss, don't worry. Those 3 idiots from the Panda Bandit group. How can they compare to us? One of the sturdy men patted his chest and said. Bing struggled out of his emotions and regained his composure. Inside the martial spirit chamber, it is somewhat troublesome to determine the location, so we often need some scenery as a reference. This red rock, we all call it the Red Sentinel. If we continue forward, we will enter the hunting spirit region. Luckily, this place is not much different from where we were before. Puff, 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 sounds came out. If you want a pet, you can throw a spirit nucleus to it. Bing glanced at it and said, Puff. This discovery made him so excited that his whole body was numb. If this news were to spread, who knows how much carnage it would attract. Even to his own subordinates, companions, he did not leak any information. They really entered the ruins. One of the tall and skinny men said in a deep voice. His head was wrapped in a purple bandana. His expression was sinister. The military equipment warehouse. Tang Tian did not know whether to laugh or cry. The arrow shot out by the Bud Spirit General was like a small toothpick, but he still raised the fist in his hand and punched it out. Tang Tian was already completely speechless. Shouldn't it be penetrated? Why was it bounced off? Tang Tian was stunned, but he did not say anything. In midair, he was hit by a fist. Without saying a word, Tang Tian summoned the blue peacock and the fornax fire and prepared for battle. Tang Tian also knew that his own strength was weaker and was even more focused. The purple scarf leader's expression fluctuated. This ruins had always been mysterious. Many people entered to explore, but those who came out alive were few and far between. The purple scarf leader once unintentionally found out that this ruins was actually a former base of the Southern Cross Army. What made him palpitate with excitement was inside this base, there was a military equipment warehouse. Chapter 79. Charge through. Tang Tian thought he heard wrongly. Tang Tian's surprise became more and more intense. This bronze passageway was already more than 10 kilometers long, and it was still extending downwards. That was an astonishing amount of work and an immense amount of wealth. He had to admit that Tang Tian was a good soldier. Not stepping on the ground, Tang Tian was stunned. If not, how do we walk? Tang Tian's eyes twitched. He resisted the urge to slap Bing Bing down. Burying his head, he frantically advanced. His entire body was stuck to the wall. He could only rely on the strength of his fingers and arms. Tang Tian's tyrannical physical strength was displayed to its fullest. Tang Tian was not intelligent, but his calmness and beast-like intuition during battle made Bing even more surprised. He had just broken through to the 4th level, but was able to steadily advance such a long distance under the rain of arrows. If the army was still here, it would definitely cause a commotion. Tang Tian was not the first to barge into this mechanism. Tang Tian's face changed. Not good. His fingers that were stuck into the wall turned into a slap. At the same time, he exerted strength in his legs. Like a frog, he bounced up. Beautifully done. Bing seemed to be excited. Rookie, that's it. Charge forward. Bing floated forward and said, I've been here before. This used to be a base of the army. There's an armory inside, so there are many mechanisms. Huh? Bing suddenly sensed something. He snorted, There's someone behind us. Xiao xiao xiao. There's someone? Tang Tian's eyes immediately revealed a look of caution. In the army, his strength was not ranked. There were countless people stronger than him. He was proficient in machinery. In the army, he was also not ranked. In terms of scheming and intelligence, he was also not ranked. How we verify it? Tang Tian asked. Tang Tian was stunned. Then what do we do? Seems like Yaya is smarter than you. Bing said and floated forward. Tang Tian broke out in cold sweat. It was his first time in such a predicament. Seeing that he was about to be penetrated, Tang Tian suddenly moved. Bing's face congealed. Follow me, be careful. Just as Tang Tian was about to curse out loud, a spot of light suddenly bloomed in front of him. Tang Tian swallowed his saliva. The passageway was completely made of bronze, and after so many years, there wasn't even the slightest bit of rust. Pieces of exquisitely carved bronze bricks covered the entire passageway. The simple and unadorned bronze patterns, like a dusty era, slowly unfolded in front of Tang Tian. Ceiling lamps lit up from the top of the tunnel, winding into the depths of the tunnel. Wah, wah, wah. Tang Tian couldn't care less and dodged to the side. The gecko's advance soon ran into trouble. The mechanism seemed to have figured out his movement pattern, and the bronze arrows started to become more threatening. Tang Tian immediately felt the pressure. A few bronze arrows in succession brushed past his body. The closest one brushed past his forehead. The biting cold energy left a small bloodstain on his forehead. But no, he was still alive. He had asked himself this question countless of times, but he could not think of an answer. He could not understand. The army was already destroyed. What was the use of keeping him as an instructor? If there really was a destiny, it should be the captain, who was an outstanding person, who was still alive. There were cobwebs everywhere piled up with dust, but there were traces of people passing by, and occasionally there was some trash thrown away by the previous adventurers. A few deep and serene passageways appeared in front of Tang Tian and Bing. Tang Tian noticed the stone used in the passageway seemed to be the same as the red rock outside. Rookie, very good. All the energy in your body is very coordinated. It's full of explosive beauty. Rookie, awesome. Don't stop. Rush, rush, rush. Rush through. Bing said. Thump, thump, thump. Be careful. If the front has not lost its effect, we need to verify your identity. Bing's tone was serious. Don't step on the ground. Bing hid behind Tang Tian and reminded him. No. Bing replied straightforwardly. Don't step on the ground. Bing reminded Tang Tian. Has Uncle Bing been here before? Tang Tian asked softly. But although it was gloomy inside, he was not the least bit afraid. Have we? Tang Tian asked again. It could not be considered dead, but it could not be considered alive. With a sudden burst of strength in his arms, Tang Tian was like a lizard crawling on the wall, quickly moving forward along the bronze wall. That's right. Bing suddenly appeared beside Yaya, grabbed Yaya, and then appeared behind Tang Tian. With one hand on Tang Tian's shoulder, he said, Godlike young lad, it's all up to you. He was at a loss. Why was he the only one left? Tang Tian's pupils suddenly constricted, a few small dots reflected in his vision. His legs that were still buffering suddenly released strength. He was like an arrow that left the bow, pouncing towards the opposite wall. You asshole! Tang Tian scolded. His legs suddenly released strength, pouncing towards the other wall. Another bronze arrow. Badge. Bing spat out 2 words. Don't be in a daze. Quickly rush. Bing said anxiously. A scalp-numbing sound pierced through the air, coming out from the depths of the tunnel. Tang Tian's eyes twitched twice, without saying a word. He activated his light body technique, continuously borrowing strength from the wall, moving forward in a zigzag pattern. Luckily, his light body technique was very solid. To him, it was not the least bit difficult. Tang Tian could not care about scolding anymore. A rain of arrows came crashing down. 12 bronze arrows seemed to have sealed all the space he could dodge. But in Bing's eyes, talent and bone structure were just that. Talent, to these young geniuses, was more important than anything else. But to a soldier, bravery, willpower, and tenacity were the most important. And in these aspects, Tang Tian was definitely the most outstanding recruit that he had handled. 3 bronze arrows whistled through the air, forming a zigzag pattern, shooting forward. Why did he transform his body into a spirit? Why him? Why? Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Perspiration flowed down Tang Tian's chin. He was completely unaware such a method of moving forward consumed a lot of his physical strength. His breathing started to become rough, but his expression did not have the slightest bit of retreat. He raised his head and stared forward, his brain working extremely fast. The space to dodge in the tunnel was rather limited. As long as there were slightly more bronze arrows, it could effectively seal the space, causing the space to be smaller and smaller for him to dodge. He was the only one left in the army. A bronze arrow brushed past his body, whoosh, deeply embedded into the sturdy wall, the bronze arrow's tail buzzing, causing Tang Tian's heart to tremble, his face slightly pale. If he was shot, he would probably be immediately pierced through. The bronze arrow that brushed past his body had a biting cold energy, causing Tang Tian's scalp to go numb. The cold intent in Bing's body became denser. He did not enter the passageway, but did not say a word and walked to the front of the rock wall. No one knew where he touched it. Suddenly, ka, the entire rock wall actually started to rise, revealing a bronze passageway. The intense fear stimulated every muscle in his body. His attention was unprecedentedly focused. At the moment when he was about to touch the wall, he suddenly extended his palm, 5 fingers like hooks, whoosh, heavily inserted into the bronze wall. The strong inertia almost pressed his body firmly against the bronze wall. This force transmitted to his fingertips, causing Tang Tian's fingertips to be in extreme pain, but he could not care about anything else. The 5 fingers of his other palm were like hooks, whoosh, inserted into the bronze wall in front of him. Yaya, who was on his shoulder, also copied Tang Tian's actions, puffed up its cheeks, its small eyes open wide. Looking everywhere, the spirit nucleus was kept somewhere, holding onto a small bow, an arrow. The arrows were like raindrops, bringing with them a terrifying power, continuously shooting out from the depths of the tunnel. Tang Tian could hear that, although Uncle Bing tried his best to make his tone calm. But the change in his tone revealed that he was not as calm as he looked. On Tang Tian's shoulder, Yaya's eyes lit up. With a stomp of his legs, he bounced up, shooting towards the wall, Pennsylvania Papa, only to see him like an elastic ball, bouncing between the 2 walls, flying forward quickly. But at this time, his momentum had already stopped. There was no place to exert force in mid-air. An angry arrow followed closely. Mechanism. Tang Tian's eyes widened, looking around randomly. The sound of arrows whistling past his ears gradually pulled him back from his thoughts. Tang Tian, who was in mid-air, suddenly hugged his knees. The 3 bronze arrows immediately missed, brushing past his shoulder. If there was no space to dodge, then he would create space to dodge. Xiao. Tang Tian's eyes suddenly flashed a trace of ruthlessness. Suddenly, Bing was curious if Tang Tian could completely pass through. The tunnel was much deeper than Tang Tian imagined, and Tang Tian could feel it. It was continuously extending downwards. There was no space to dodge. What to do? Tang Tian moved forward at an astonishing speed, sticking close to the wall, dodging the whistling, angry arrows. The cold bronze walls made his heart even more calm. 7 arrows firmly sealed off the space he could move forward. Tang Tian did not hesitate and shot up. Tang Tian completely did not know what Bing was thinking. He was fully concentrated, his attention unprecedentedly concentrated. Although Tang Tian's talent was not much, Bing said that Tang Tian's 5 elements balance was not a bad thing, and said that Tang Tian's affinity to energy was not a problem. But he did not say the other half of the sentence. What he said was that there was no problem and did not repel true power. He had seen many people who were born with affinity to true power, and that was their innate talent. The current single-element bone frame was nothing in Bing's eyes. Among the recruits that he had gone through, there were many geniuses who were extremely compatible with the 5 elements. These people trained true power and were always faster than others, with higher efficiency and improved at an astonishing speed. Luckily, he did not fail. Being behind him was as though he had been injected with chicken blood. The surrounding familiar scenery made him feel as though he had returned to that era. He led the young and tender youths and continuously completed the harsh training. At that time, he was like now, roaring and shouting at the side, encouraging them. After Tang Tian walked into the bronze tunnel, the rock wall once again slowly descended and closed up tightly. What made Tang Tian feel strange was that the entire tunnel's air was extremely fresh and not as turbid as he imagined. The entrance was a broken stone door. The soldiers of the Southern Cross Army were swift and fierce and loved to challenge, and often there would be people who did not wear their badges and came to challenge this mechanism. Many people took this as a form of entertainment, but those who could successfully pass were all veterans, and there had never been a recruit who could pass. Chapter 80. Tang Tian was like a cat that had its tail stepped on. He jumped up and stared at Bing angrily. Scared? Asshole, are you trying to provoke me? Come on, let's fight to our heart's content. Tang Tian quivered and jumped up. Uncle Bing, Uncle Bing. Uncle Bing's heart was thinking, but all of their levels are much higher than you. The entire door was polished to a very smooth surface, like a mirror. Tang Tian ran to the mirror and struck all sorts of poses, his face full of pride. Yaya woke up for some reason and was immediately attracted by the bronze door that looked like a mirror and climbed onto Tang Tian's shoulders, learning from Tang Tian, and struck all sorts of poses. Seeing Uncle Bing, Tang Tian heaved a sigh of relief. After a while, his face was filled with suspicion. Why did I fall asleep? Bing was slightly excited. It was as if he was witnessing a piece of unpolished jade, slowly being polished off, revealing the dazzling and beautiful jade inside. Bing had never looked down on Tang Tian. Tang Tian's ferocity, tenacity, stubbornness, arrogance, and unruliness were all qualities that Bing admired. But today's Tang Tian still made Bing feel shocked. Oh, I guess you're more tired, Uncle Bing said indifferently. A ray of light flashed past Tang Tian's eyes. His right fist clenched into a hammer and fiercely smashed downwards. But having great strength also had its benefits. With sufficient leverage, Tang Tian's leap was extremely high. The top of the tunnel rapidly enlarged in his eyes, and just as he was about to crash into it, Tang Tian's 10 fingers were like hooks and fiercely pierced into the top of the wall. Oh, you're awake? Uncle Bing's voice came from behind. Tang Tian snorted and was somewhat pleased. Of course, godlike young lad, you will never understand. Then, Tang Tian was stunned by the scene in front of him. Tang Tian did not know that Bing's heart was churning behind him. He had not been in such a difficult situation for a long time. The arrow rain whistling from the end of the tunnel did not know when it would end. Even if he tried to distribute his physical strength and true power, his physical strength and true power were still quickly depleting. Tang Tian curiously observed Uncle Bing's actions from the corner of his eyes, but he could not see clearly what Uncle Bing was doing. Tang Tian's physical strength and true power were quickly depleting. In such a desperate situation, the longer Tang Tian could endure it, the more benefits he would reap. The experience gained from such a battle was extremely precious, far more precious than cultivation. It wouldn't directly raise one's level, nor would it directly raise one's martial skills. However, the increase in one's strength was real. This fellow was simply born to fight. This is the real Tang Tian. What? Are you afraid? Uncle Bing's voice was filled with ridicule. Uncle Bing did not even look at him, as though Tang Tian did not exist. Seems like your energy recovered rather quickly. Hearing what Bing said, Tang Tian was stunned and scoffed. What's so great about it? This was the first time. The next time I come, humph, I will definitely defeat it. You have the energy to brag. Seems like you recovered. Bing said indifferently. Then let's continue forward. Then time passed slowly. Tang Tian, who looked like he was staggering, slow, and could fall at any time, was stumbling but did not fall, even though he was surrounded by danger. But Tang Tian still stubbornly moved forward. Tang Tian opened his eyes in a daze, as though there was a voice reverberating in his mind, and what entered his vision was the bronze ceiling with engravings of exquisite patterns. Many people thought that intuition was innate, but as the chief instructor of the Southern Cross Army, Bing was very clear that intuition was also honed. He already knew that Tang Tian trained his intuition. If not, Tang Tian would definitely not be able to endure for so long in the beating training. After experiencing the initial difficulty, Tang Tian gradually stabilized his footing. Tang Tian's fundamental martial techniques could be said to be perfect, but he had never encountered such an extreme situation before. Although the beating training in the recruit barracks was airtight, but compared to his current situation, where he could lose his life at any time, it could only be considered as training. Under the pressure of the extreme danger, Tang Tian had no choice but to make his movements more logical, more concise. Chia, I will definitely become stronger. No matter how far the heaven's road is, I will not break my promise. Mom, wait for me to grow up and become a man. I will definitely protect you. The fist that was covered in green flames struck the arrow body without any fancy moves. As expected, a fundamental Tang. After walking for a short distance, a bronze door appeared in front of him. Xiao xiao xiao. Tang Tian's reaction was much slower. His movements were difficult, and he was surrounded by danger. Even Bing could not help but secretly praise him. Tang Tian could not remember how much he had advanced. Due to the overdraft of his physical strength, his mind was starting to become muddled and dazed. A punch landed on the arrow. Looking at Tang Tian staggering forward, Bing was silent, but a ray of light shone in his palm. Seems like it. Tang Tian also thought about some of the things that happened before, but suddenly his eyelids twitched. He suddenly turned, pointed at Bing, and scolded, "You actually dare to call me rookie?" This fellow, such a strong battle intelligence. This fellow was really a natural-born warrior. Bing, who was on his back, was looking forward to it. The 1,000-arrow passage was not that easy to pass. But this fellow's battle intuition had actually grown to such a level. Good. Chia, we have a promise. I will definitely find you. And then he did the same thing. Bing, who was on Tang Tian's back, was slightly surprised. Tang Tian had many unimaginable methods, even he did not think of, but he could not help but sigh in admiration. He really could not understand. Why would the usually stupid Tang Tian, once he entered battle, become so smart and agile? The recruits that Bing had dealt with in the past, although all of them were more outstanding than Tang Tian, but their ability to adapt in the face of danger was much worse than Tang Tian. Bing did not care about the two of them, walked straight to the door, and fumbled for a while. Bing, who was floating in the air again, stared at Tang Tian, who was so tired that he had fainted and could not speak for a long time. But in Bing's eyes, he saw more. Under the danger, Tang Tian's potential was quickly unearthed. Although his figure became even more miserable, but his unnecessary movements were quickly decreasing. Under the pressure of the increasing attack rhythm, Tang Tian's movements became more and more concise. Are there any more mechanisms in front? Tang Tian asked with some lingering fear. Tang Tian actually started to fumble on his own, with the same strength. A person who had walked on the edge of life and death would have a stronger fighting ability and a higher chance of survival. It was hard for Bing to link the vigilant, sharp, outstanding battle intelligence fellow in front of him with the usual one-track-minded, stupid, and naive Tang Tian together. An extremely strong force came from his fist. Tang Tian groaned, but he borrowed this force, soared into the air, and shot toward the top. The power of the arrow was similar to what Tang Tian had expected. The power of this arrow was almost equivalent to a fourth-level martial artist. The power was extremely strong. If not for Tang Tian's skillful use of force, it would have pierced through his fist. The admiration in Bing's heart turned into surprise. He suddenly noticed Tang Tian had started to try and distribute the true power in his body. This really surprised him. To the recruits, the easiest mistake to make was not understanding the distribution of physical strength and true power, and the trick to this was only known to the veterans. Bing felt that he was fated to be frightened by Tang Tian today, because when he regained his senses, Tang Tian had actually finished walking through the 1,000-arrow tunnel. "Yo, young man, very stylish." Tang Tian's face was full of praise, and then complacently added a sentence. "Indeed, like master, like pet." Tang Tian's reaction became slower, but at the last moment before the bronze arrow hit him, he narrowly dodged it. "Wait a minute. Mom, I will definitely find that bastard, beat him up, drag him in front of you, and repent for you." The bronze arrow did not give him a chance to catch his breath. Tang Tian roared. Both his arms exerted strength, like an arrow leaving the bow. He rushed forward while sticking close to the top wall. Bing's heart was getting more and more surprised. This was battle intuition. This fellow. The momentum suddenly stopped, his body sticking close to the top wall. The more concise the movements and changes, the more it was pleasing to the eye. Yaya was so excited that she somersaulted a few times on Tang Tian's shoulder. Tang Tian quickly realized the power of the arrows became stronger. The density also became more astonishing. The angle became more crafty, and Tang Tian's figure became more difficult. "Wait a minute." Bing stared blankly at Tang Tian. Not a single bronze arrow flew over. Tang Tian, who was out of danger, immediately fell face up, falling to the ground, his sweat splattering everywhere. Such a smooth bronze door. Just how far will you rush to? Although his speed was much slower, but he was still resolutely moving forward. This is just the beginning. Tang Tian became more and more at ease. The minute collapsing fist was full of power, it was best used to change directions. The broken shadow palm. One palm had more than 10 shadows, but it could disrupt the arrow's flight. Tang Tian's movements were extremely agile. His valiant physique, his flexible yet flexible body. This was the result of 5 years of fundamental martial techniques tempering, and was now displaying its huge value. The door creaked open. After such a long time, it did not leave a single mark on the mirror like bronze door. The sound of air braking could be heard. Bing was already prepared to make a move. He was waiting for Tang Tian to be unable to persevere, and then he would take over. Tang Tian crawled up. Suddenly he felt something hanging on his hair. He touched his head and felt something. Grabbing it down, he realized it was Yaya. This little thing was hugging his bow and arrows, snoring loudly. His little tummy could still be seen moving up and down. Tang Tian shook his head and casually stuffed Yaya into his pocket. Tang Tian clenched his teeth, gathered his remaining energy, curled up his body, dodged a few bronze arrows, supported himself with both arms, and forced himself to pounce forward. Bang! He finished walking the 1,000-arrow passage. He did not have enough energy and immediately felt like he was brushed by a stampeding rhinoceros. His entire body bounced up. In a moment of desperation, his 5 fingers suddenly flipped, fiercely piercing into the bronze wall, his entire body hanging on the wall. "Did I say anything wrong?" Uncle Bing mocked. "Just a single-person 1,000-arrow passage, and it made you so miserable?" TSK, this 1,000-arrow passage in the past would be repeatedly broken every month for who knows how many times. "Oh, I remember once it was used too many times, and it actually broke, causing the mechanics to specially come over to fix it. You say these people are so bored." He was like a nimble leopard cat, his movements extremely fast. Chapter 81. This was a typical humanoid machine. It looked like a larger set of armor and was about 2 meters tall. The first impression this machine gave people was that it was sinister. Its head was a tiger's head. It was dignified and solemn. Every joint had a barb, especially its finger joints. Tang Tian imagined that when he clenched his fist and punched the opponent, the barbs at the tip of the fist could easily break through the opponent's defense, and the strong force would destroy it. The 10 fingers had sharp tiger claws, which could be locked down and were extremely lethal. Not to mention the knees and elbows. As long as the opponent was hit once, they would definitely lose their fighting strength. Commander, you didn't come. IXIN, you never lose in cards, you sinister and black-bellied rascal, also didn't come. Screw, you're the strongest mechanical engineer, also didn't come. Bing looked at his own palms. You all kicked me, the most useless rascal, back. Why, Commander? Before he finished speaking, bang, the saber-toothed tiger on the ground suddenly jumped up, fiercely crashing into the ceiling, creating a human-shaped hole. After a moment, it fell to the ground, creating countless of dust. This type of battle machine is called mechanical weapons. Bing added, and then pointed to the saber-toothed tiger. Its specialty is its agility. It emphasizes on attacking, regardless if it is fist techniques, palm techniques, finger techniques, joint techniques, or leg techniques. They are all greatly strengthened. The degree of strengthening is between 20% to 25%, depending on the individual's standard. The bronze machines had all sorts of strange shapes. Some were shaped like beasts, some were shaped like humans, but there were even more shapes that Tang Tian could not describe. However, every single one of the bronze machines emitted an indescribable killing intent. The deep bronze color added a bit of solemnity to this faint killing intent. This was considered small. The bronze light aura suddenly entered his body. The insignia on the wall quickly dimmed. In the mirror, the eyes could move, the mouth could move, the nose could move, the eyebrows could also move, but actually it was as though it was drawn on. He composed himself. After a long while, he slowly opened his mouth. Commander, other than training the newbies, I do not know anything, but I think, since you all kicked me back, you must be filled with unwillingness. You are not willing to fail like this, right? You are not willing to be annihilated like this, right? Right, you are not willing. The various martial techniques became extremely ferocious, and their might skyrocketed. Tears blurred her vision as she spoke. Where his fist hit, the air completely collapsed and was annihilated. The surrounding air rapidly collapsed towards his fist, forming a terrifying sonic boom. Clang! Clang! Tang Tian didn't know how to describe his feelings. He could not imagine how powerful the Southern Cross Army was in the past. Tang Tian was visibly moved. The strengthening of a martial technique by 20% was a rather frightening number. It was extremely difficult to increase the might of any martial skill by 20%. So powerful. A moment later, all the changes stopped. Tang Tian walked forward in a daze. He was so shocked by the scene in front of him that his mind went blank. He subconsciously walked forward, his eyes greedily and passionately sweeping across these bronze machines. The incomparably excited Tang Tian took a step forward, but in the end, he didn't control his strength well and fell to the ground head first. This was a large insignia. Every base of the army would have one of these insignia. Inside, there was the brand of the army, and it was the symbol of the Southern Cross Army. But very few people knew that the insignia contained another universe. No, to be exact, in the entire army, only 4 people knew. Under the light from above, the bronze insignia on the wall pulled out a long shadow. It landed beside Bing, who was leaning against the wall, as though it was a comrade of the past. The blank white face, coupled with the facial features that looked like it was painted on, it was a living poker face. Can these machines still be used? Tang Tian couldn't help but ask. Bing tilted his head back and couldn't bear to look at it. Oh. Young man, pay attention to controlling your strength. It will amplify your strength. In the deep darkness, the distant memories that had been asleep for thousands of years were awakened by the dazzling lights. After Bing said that, he floated away. But it's not that it doesn't have any weaknesses. Bing continued. The saber-toothed tiger is heavy on offense and light on defense. Its weight makes its defense not very outstanding. Also, it strengthens the instantaneous burst of true power. Its short-distance sprinting speed is very good, but long-distance assault is not its strong point. Very small. Try walking 2 steps. Bing stood at the side, crossing his arms. He habitually patted his pockets, and then suddenly realized that he was already a spirit general. He felt a little regretful. If he had a cigarette or something, it would be perfect, Tang Tian wore the saber-toothed tiger and ran wildly in the military armory. Occasionally, he would knock down other mechanical weapons, but he did not care. He only felt an indescribable carefree feeling, as though his body had an endless amount of strength. Personally experiencing a mechanical weapon, it was a fresh feeling. Tang Tian was in awe of the people from the Southern Cross Army. Who was the one who created such a mechanism? It was truly too powerful. Although it looked extremely heavy, activating it only required a small amount of strength, and it was extremely flexible. Doesn't it look like a human's blood vessels? Being asked as he operated. Put the star rocks here. Bing pointed to a groove on the inner wall. Although the design of the back armor is the thickest and can withstand stronger attacks, but you better not use it as a shield. In actual combat, if the attack is too strong, the groove may be destroyed. Oh, then this toy will become a bronze can. Other than training, I don't know anything else. Bing sat down, leaned on the wall with the emblem, and muttered to himself, "You guys are all very powerful, but all of you are lazy. You guys are obviously not satisfied, but you leave me alone. How awkward is that? But Tang Tian, this fellow is not bad. Oh, he's a good seedling. Just that it is something from our era and is slightly outdated. This is a problem." The blank face started to show eyes, nose, mouth, and eyebrows. Tang Tian was stunned by the punch. Bing opened his eyes, and the emblem in front of him suddenly became a mirror. Seeing the person in the mirror, Bing was stunned and immediately roared in anger. "Captain, you asshole! Don't tell me when you were making the emblem, you were playing poker." Bing looked and nodded. "You have a good eye. It is called saber-toothed tiger. It is a typical close combat mechanical weapon and is very suitable for your fighting style," Bing said as he opened the mechanical weapon's chest armor. It was empty inside, and on the inside of the mechanical weapon, there were many complicated red lines, and on the deep bronze background, the red lines were extremely eye-catching. Bing's body trembled. On his forehead, a bronze Southern Cross imprint appeared, and his originally translucent body became more solid. He was very clear of the power of the Great Avalanche, but he did not think that, wearing this saber-toothed tiger, the Great Avalanche that was released would actually have such power. The Great Avalanche that was released normally could shatter the air, but was unable to destroy it. The perfect Great Avalanche had its power increased by 20% and had a qualitative change. "All right, you can go in and try." Bing roared at the emblem for half a day and finally stopped. He looked at the emblem in a daze and snorted. "You assholes, you must have had fun playing poker in hell and left me alone in the human world. Is it because I don't play poker with you normally? This base is just for everyone to train and rest. The military weapon warehouse is very small." Bing played it down. Tang Tian felt that he was like a berserk fighting machine, invincible. Bing looked around and sighed. "I remember that this base was designed and built by Screw. This fellow's requirements are the most perverted. For this place to be preserved so well, it is all thanks to him. Here, you can see for yourself the standard equipment of the army in the past. The things for those perverted fellows to use are not here." "Ha!" Bing extended out his palm and placed it on the emblem. The blood in Tang Tian's body was immediately ignited, and he started to unleash his various martial techniques frantically. The emblem suddenly lit up with a faint light aura, and the bronze Southern Cross imprint lit up like a star. Saber-toothed tiger. Tang Tian immediately fell in love with the name. Bing wiped his tears, looked at the emblem, and muttered, "The poker card is soaked in water. It is indeed a little ugly. It really hurts my image as an iron-blooded instructor." "A little." Tang Tian nodded his head. Bing was very familiar with it, as though he was very familiar with it. "Young lad, you play by yourself first. I'll go take a look at other places. Don't worry, this toy is very sturdy." "Even more perverted fellows?" Tang Tian asked curiously. Bing looked at the emblem in front of him. "Captain, don't lie to me." Bing muttered to himself. "Yes, experts will have specialized mechanical engineers custom-made them, tailored for them. Ordinary soldiers do not have such treatment." Bing explained. Upon hearing Bing's words, Tang Tian could not wait and immediately went in. It should still be usable. Bing was not sure. Pick one and try it. This one, Tang Tian said without hesitation. He just sat there, talking endlessly, as though he was talking to a friend. The saber-toothed tiger came to an abrupt stop, as smooth as flowing water. Tang Tian took a deep breath, and with a punch, all the true power in his body surged out. It was as though a world door had been opened. Good. Tang Tian was extremely excited. He could not hold it in any longer. His gaze swept around, and his gaze was immediately attracted by a bronze machine. Great avalanche. Rows of neatly arranged bronze machines were like ferocious beasts, silently squatting there. One could not see the end of them with a single glance. The deep and reserved luster of the bronze, simple and desolate like that era, the smell of blood and fire, rushed towards him. It was Tang Tian's first time encountering such a fun thing. At the start, it was not easy to control, and often fell and lost control. But very quickly, Tang Tian's beast-like reaction speed quickly gained the upper hand. Chapter 82. Tang Tian was stunned, but he still did not believe it. Such a strong mechanical weapon, it definitely surpasses many bronze-ranked treasures. Although Bing was surprised by Tang Tian's craziness, he did not say anything. He easily guessed Tang Tian's thoughts. In fact, Tang Tian's one-track mind, no matter what he did, he would show it on his face. Scheming and whatnot, to Tang Tian, it was something too high-end. The ground trembled, and Tang Tian's surroundings lit up with a light screen enveloping him. We're going back just like that. Tang Tian's eyes widened, somewhat unsatisfied. Then I'll bring a saber-toothed tiger out. Bing's expression was sluggish, as though he did not see it. He continued, of course, to fully unleash the power of a weapon, this is a quality that a qualified warrior must possess. Just now when I said, the saber-toothed tiger cannot compare to the blue peacock, it was not nonsense. Because the blue peacock has a martial spirit, but the saber-toothed tiger does not. A smart weapon is far more outstanding than a strong weapon. But, regarding treasures, my understanding is still very little. For an antique like me, to understand these people requires time. But what I can tell you is not to walk on our old path, the path that has already been proven wrong, no matter how strong it looks now. Your Aquarius Marshall cabinet can hold it? Bing glanced at Tang Tian. I brought it, Bing said, and passed the spirit nucleus and jade spirit steel to Silei. Silei did not raise his head to look at Tang Tian. Did you bring the spirit nucleus and jade spirit steel? Tang Tian was surprised. He did not expect this rascal to work like a different person. Fifth level is also considered an expert? Bing snorted. The cross imprint on his palm suddenly lit up, a ray of light from Tang Tian's palm into the badge. He did not make a sound and lightly coughed. All right, young man, stop. Back at the recruit barracks, Tang Tian immediately began to train crazily. Outdated? Nonsense. The saber-toothed tiger is even more powerful than those bronze treasures. Tang Tian obviously did not agree with Bing's words and refuted loudly. But Bing was not worried. Tang Tian's battle intelligence was extremely high. As long as something did not work in battle, he would quickly understand. Sometimes, he even had the misconception that he was naturally suited for those mechanical weapons. But at least Bing was right. The current him was too weak. Not only was he unable to unleash the power of the saber-toothed tiger, he was also unable to protect it. If he couldn't even protect his own weapon, Tang Tian definitely couldn't accept it. It's dependence. Many people rely on it too much and are not willing to improve themselves. Bing said solemnly, Tang Tian, you must remember, no matter how strong the treasures or armors are, they are not as useful as your own power. Your fists, your true power, your martial techniques, your body, you are the most trustworthy. Even if you do not have any treasures or weapons, you can still fight tenaciously. Don't lose yourself in external forces, no matter how strong they are. No matter when, improving your own strength is the most fundamental method. Only by becoming stronger could he openly wear that big thing and run amok. What is that? Tang Tian asked subconsciously. But at the same time, Bing was very clear how stubborn Tang Tian was. A person who could keep quiet under heavy pressure, a person who trained for 5 years in fundamental martial techniques. Once he set his sights on a target, even 5 bulls would not be able to pull him back. Tang Tian followed behind. I can't fit it. Tang Tian was even more unsatisfied. I can wear it and walk. They're all mine. Tang Tian looked as though he was struck by lightning and looked around in a daze. It was like Xiao Bai suddenly realized the sky was raining carrots. All right, don't be so useless. A few outdated antiques can make you lose your composure. Bing frowned. His eyebrows were like thick eyebrows drawn on, moving and moving. It was indescribably comical. Wah wah wah, they're all mine. Ha! This is too cool. Tang Tian's heart was filled with energy. Other than finding Chie and that asshole, now Tang Tian had an even closer target. Tang Tian's face was filled with displeasure, but he knew Bing was right. The bronze mechanical ostrich had attracted a bunch of debauches. If it was the saber-toothed tiger, he reckoned he would not even be able to walk out of that street. All right, go and take over this base, Bing said helplessly. Sai Lei took it, examined it for a moment, and said with satisfaction, not bad. Everything is complete like this. I have completed the rough embryo. All right, you guys can scram. Don't disturb my work. 5 days later, come back to take it. All right, all right. Tang Tian immediately ran over with his eyes shining to take over a Southern Cross Army base. Wow. It was so cool that he could wake up from his dreams laughing. Bing, like a magic trick, took out a box from nowhere and pushed it to Tang Tian. Huh. When the two of them rushed back to Sai Lei card shop, the messy card shop had once again become neat and tidy. Tang Tian's excited cheers came out from the pile of mechanical weapons from time to time. When Bing found Tang Tian again, seeing Tang Tian's agile movements, he was slightly surprised this rascal completely did not look like he was playing for the first time. Wah wah wah. Uncle Bing, you have such a good thing, and you actually hit it. That's not good enough. That's great. I dare say, I can now kill a 5th level expert. Tang Tian's excited voice came out from the saber-toothed tiger. Do you know what can be done in half an hour in a war? 1 charge. Bing raised a finger. Then you have to climb out of the bronze can. You can't even change the star rock because it needs to go through 12 hours of cooldown before it can be used in battle again. It can't compare to the blue peacock on you. You have not truly unearthed the potential of this treasure armor. But the scariest thing is not this. As expected, but before that, the most important thing was to make himself stronger. You're saying these are all mine? Tang Tian extended his finger and gestured. Godlike young man, godlike mechanical weapons. He heard everything that Bing said, but he did not agree with everything. He had his own thoughts. Bing did not say anything. He was suddenly curious. Tang Tian's parents, who exactly were they? What relationship did they have with the Southern Cross Army? Half an hour? Tang Tian was stunned. His mind was still on the saber-toothed tiger. He loved mechanical weapons very much. Let's go. Bing took the lead and floated forward. When the light screen dispersed, Tang Tian was a little uncertain. That's it. Tang Tian looked at Bing strangely. Wasn't it originally like this? Tang Tian's heart was extremely sullen, as if, wah, big pie fell from the sky, wah, so fragrant, wah, so cool, wah, I can't eat it. I have to become stronger. This scene, no matter how he looked at it, Tang Tian felt that it was unspeakably weird. He could not help but ask, Sai Lei, what did you do to them? 10 days of hardship passed in the blink of an eye. With a goal, Tang Tian was even more energetic. Every time he was tired, he would think of the enchanting feeling when he was wearing the big thing, and it was as if there was a fire burning in his body. Tang Tian reluctantly opened the saber-toothed tiger and walked out. He looked at Bing with longing. Uncle Bing, can you give this saber-toothed tiger to me? Now he only needed 5 days, and Tang Tian could start a round of hardship. Bing realized Tang Tian was working even harder than before, training as if he did not care about his life. He started to train his leg techniques. As he did not have the relevant foundation previously, he started from the most basic leg techniques. He did not have any thoughts of taking shortcuts. and tirelessly trained in the most basic martial techniques. The black, white, and flower 3 pandas were like 3 obedient babies, working diligently. They were dressed in work clothes, wearing dust-proof hats, and were extremely busy. They did not even raise their heads to look at Tang Tian. Tang Tian and placed his palm on it. It was an unexpected surprise. Tang Tian comforted himself, but he did not open it. Tang Tian did not know why, but he felt that the big thing made his blood boil. It suited his appetite and made him even more excited. No problem. Bing straightforwardly waved his hand. Everything in here is yours. Bing sighed. It is indeed outdated, believe me. You think it is very powerful now, but that is because your knowledge is still too little. For example, the saber-toothed tiger. You think it is very powerful, but let me tell you, once it enters a real battle, a 5th-level star rock can only support it for half an hour. Then what do you think? Bing rolled his eyes. All right, let's go. We need to go back. I have found the spirit nucleus and jade spirit steel. Luckily, the warehouse still has some stock. The 3 pandas who were working hard, upon hearing that, their bodies trembled. Oh, after clearing the traps, I collected them from the corpses. All these years, there have been many people who have barged in. Bing played it down. The few fellows who followed us also died. A pity they did not have anything good on them. There are too many things. You have to count them yourself. Put them in your Aquarius Marshall cabinet. The truth will prove everything. Bronze Army. Go, go, go. Then how do we lose that year? Bing spread out his hands. I personally experienced that defeat. I know it better than you. What is this? Tang Tian asked angrily. With that, she lowered her head again and focused on her work. Hey, uncle. Tang Tian interrupted Bing's torrent of words. That's right. What's wrong? Bing did not understand. Hey, uncle, you finally couldn't resist drawing a face for yourself. Tang Tian immediately smiled and rushed into the mechanical weapon, touching here and there. Although Yaya did not understand, she followed and jumped up and down. Bing helplessly brought Tang Tian to the badge. Oh, press your palm on it. Tang Tian immediately stopped. And then it will be taken away by others. Bing sneered. This is not a bronze mechanical ostrich. If you dare to wear it out, there will definitely be people who will kill you and take away the mechanical weapon. Don't count on me. I am just an instructor. Fighting is very normal. Bang, bang, bang. Chapter 83. Martial Spirit Contract. Silay, calm down. Once the martial spirit contract was signed, it would leave behind the imprint of the martial spirit. No matter who it was, they would not be able to break the contract. Just from these 4 words, Silay knew that the other party was not ordinary. Ordinary people would never have heard of these 4 words. Silay looked at Tang Tian in bewilderment. She teased, Oh, don't tell me you have a mechanical weapon. But her teasing was too funny. How could there still be a mechanical weapon left in the world? Impossible. She shook her head. But looking at Tang Tian's serious expression, she said, Although I have never seen a mechanical weapon before, I know that there are people who have already started experimenting with it. Silay's eyes flashed a look of satisfaction. She raised her beautiful face and said, The Southern Cross Army's mechanical weapons had once created a very glorious history. There were mechanical weapons that were unearthed. Although they could not be restored, we could still see that the mechanical weapons had reached a peak. There were many mechanical engineers who researched on this. Now, the mainstream view is that the mechanical weapons have reached the pinnacle. This is the reason why they are so strong. But it is also the reason why they failed. They do not have a martial spirit. Oh my God, you actually found 3. Silay screamed. She was so excited that she almost fainted. Bing had already recovered from the shock. He said, The idea is not bad, but it is hard to say if it can be realized. All of Tang Tian's wealth, all of his silver grade cards, including his treasures and whatnot, totaled up to only 200,000 star coins. Silay paused. She did not expect that Tang Tian would actually ask such a question. She said, I will only know after seeing it. The mechanical weapons are the machines of the Southern Cross Army. Oh, in that era, they were called mechanical techniques. I also like this name. The mechanical weapons of the Southern Cross Army are the pinnacle of mechanical techniques. The system is huge and complicated. Honestly speaking, just based on mechanical techniques, we are still far from it. I have yet to see a real mechanical weapon. How far can it go? We can sell the mechanical weapons. Bing said calmly. We can talk about the money problem. Bing said calmly. I can let you study the mechanical weapons. But we need to sign the martial spirit contract. What exactly did this woman do to these three vicious fellows? Tang Tian muttered in his heart as he asked, "Is the soul refining tool ready? Was this woman up to no good?" Mechanical weapons had a fatal attraction to Sai Lei. As he spoke, Sai Lei put on a haughty expression. Upon hearing that, Tang Tian's heart moved, and he blurted out, "Then can you improve the mechanical weapons?" The nervousness in Sai Lei's pupils immediately disappeared, and she heaved a sigh of relief. Bing, who she could not see through, made her nervous, but the one-track-minded Tang Tian made her feel more at ease. Bing, who initially did not care, revealed an attentive expression. Tang Tian could not take his eyes off it. Sai Lei sneered. "Don't act like you are an expert. There are better ways. Think about it. If you add in the spirit cards, it would be equivalent to having a weapon. This is the perfect combination. But to be able to fuse a spirit card with a star treasure, only a genius mechanical engineer like me can do it. This is my unique consummate skill." "Yes." Tang Tian nodded. "That's right." Once it involved professional content, Sai Lei's expression became serious. No matter how powerful it is still a dead object, and that is the reason for its failure. It was replaced by star treasures because of this reason. Star treasures have martial spirits. They have room to grow. They have room to strengthen. They're smarter. They can resonate with martial artists. Everyone knows, to high-level martial artists, martial spirits are more important than true power, and that is the reason. Mechanical weapons can strengthen true power, but there is no martial spirit. Star treasures may not be that powerful at the start, but as long as you keep digging, it will become more and more powerful. Don't tell me there are two. Sai Lei's eyes lit up and immediately jumped up. No. Tang Tian shook his head. Sai Lei's expression froze. "Uncle, we don't have that much money," Tang Tian reminded, although they had long gotten rid of the poverty of the past. But 2 million star coins to them was still a huge sum. Sai Lei was talking about star coins and not other currencies. Star coins were Heaven's Road's hard currency. Its value was linked to star rocks, and thus it was extremely strong. Tang Tian felt that what Sai Lei said was completely reasonable. Get a martial spirit, then? Sai Lei had a "you're an idiot" expression on her face. Tang Tian sat down and started to check the box that Bing gave him. Inside was a pile of junk, but there were not many valuable things. There were a few suitable rank 4 silver grade cards, and Tang Tian's rank 4 martial techniques were all gathered together. But what made Tang Tian the happiest was a bronze rank Aquarius martial cabinet. Sai Lei's attire today was completely different from the previous time. She was wearing an extremely short and old pair of jeans, which accentuated her pair of snow-white slender legs, and a simple white short-sleeved t-shirt. Her hair, tied into a ponytail, was unspeakably refreshing, brimming with the aura of youth. Sai Lei was surprised by Bing's seriousness. She waved her hands and pretended to be relaxed. "I'm just saying, this lady has never seen any mechanical weapons before." Suddenly, her eyes lit up, and she rushed to Tang Tian, bent down, and said passionately, "Godlike young lad, don't tell me you're interested in this? That's great. As long as you sponsor me, as long as I have sufficient funds, I have complete confidence that I can build it. How about it? I'm only interested in the mechanical itself. The results can all be used by you. Oh, I can even custom make a mechanical weapon for you." Tang Tian smacked his fist, suddenly enlightened, and became extremely excited. "That's right. That's a good idea. That's a good idea." Sai Lei Card Shop. Back at the energy crack, Jing Hao had not returned yet, so Tang Tian found a secluded corner to train. Yaya came out from Tang Tian's pocket, its small head looking around. It was extremely curious about the energy. But after a while, it fell in love with the energy. "What martial spirit contract Tang Tian had never heard of it. He was completely following Bing's request. Sai Lei was even more shocked. Such a person who was so proficient in martial spirit contracts. Where did he come from? Only those aristocratic families with a long history would have such a person. At a martial spirit, Tang Tian was stunned. The three pandas obediently stood guard at the door, smiling from ear to ear like professional doormen. If I give you a set of mechanical weapon, can you improve it? Tang Tian asked closely. Martial spirit. That's right. Why didn't I think of it? Bing was dazed and muttered to himself. After much difficulty, Sai Lei asked impatiently, Quickly bring me to see the mechanical weapon. Where did you find this mechanical weapon? Bing's face was calm, waiting for Sai Lei's decision. Although the bronze mechanical ostrich looked huge, it used the folding mechanical technique and could be folded into a small ostrich. This was because the structure of the bronze mechanical ostrich was simple. This could be seen from the name. In the eyes of the mechanical engineers of the Southern Cross Army, such a simple thing could only be called a machine. They did not even have the qualifications to use the word mechanism. On the fifth day, Tang Tian entered Three Spirit City. Sai Lei looked at Bing suspiciously. Now she realized that Bing was different. This one, Tang Tian shook his head. We have more than one. She clenched her fist and placed it in front of her chest. Her voluptuous breasts were about to pop out. Her face was flushed red. Her eyes had a hint of flirtatious look, and she kept flirting with Tang Tian. Know the mechanical technique. Know how to warm the bed. Such a cute girl. Where can I find you? You only need to pay 2 million star coins a year, and I feel very comfortable hugging you. We have decided to sponsor you. Sai Lei's pounce missed. She staggered, but she anxiously said, Don't sell. Don't sell. As long as you give me the mechanical weapon to research, I will consider it as your sponsorship. I will think of a way to get the money myself. Bing pointed at Tang Tian, him. Good. I will sign. Once Sai Lei made a decision, she was straightforward, without any hesitation. With that said, Sai Lei shot forward, both hands grabbing at Tang Tian. Tang Tian was shocked. His reaction was fast. His legs moved like lightning. He retreated a few steps and once again widened the distance between them. Hey, with the genius young lady making a move? What is this problem? Sai Lei raised her head proudly and snorted. It is just a training spirit device. Even if you give me the Southern Cross Army's mechanical weapon blueprint, I can also make it. Compared to the iron-grade Aquarius Marshall cabinet in his hands, the bronze Aquarius Marshall cabinet was much bigger. It could completely fit 5 saber-toothed tigers, causing Tang Tian to regret to the point that his intestines turned green, tears streaming down his face. Why did he not realize it at that time? Seeing how anxious Sai Lei was, his face did not have the slightest bit of calmness and completely lost his balance. Tang Tian could not help but feel moved. Although Sai Lei was abhorrent in many ways, but his love for mechanical techniques did not come from his heart. This kind of love from the heart made Tang Tian moved. He was just about to speak when Bing spoke. Bing's body trembled and muttered to himself. No martial spirit. Tang Tian did not have mixed feelings like Bing. He was more concerned about another problem. Then how do we solve it? Who do I sign with? Sai Lei suddenly asked. Tang Tian continued to shake his head and grinned, revealing his snow-white teeth. It is a military weapon warehouse. With regards to the simple structure of the mechanism, to the mechanical engineers of the Southern Cross Army, they had long studied it thoroughly and had already lost interest. This kind of low-level machinery was too limited to increase one's strength. Mechanical weapons were much more advanced. Its internal structure was extremely complicated to amplify true power, to increase the power of martial techniques that was already on another level of content. After 3 days, Jing Hao returned. The two of them casually chatted for a while and then started training. To prevent the energy from being chaotic, the two of them trained far away. The cliff was extremely wide, enough for the two of them to not disturb each other. Sai Lei's face changed, and she hesitated. Although she was extremely eager to research on mechanical weapons, but once she signed such a contract, she would truly be selling herself. Tang Tian looked at Sai Lei with some lingering fear. So stupid. Sai Lei touched her smooth and exquisite chin, looking like an expert. Now there are so many constellations in Heaven's Road, and star treasures are much more common than before. Combining the two, it will be perfect. Mechanical weapons are a good body. Star treasures are equivalent to a good brain. Combining the two, that is powerful. That is a way. Tang Tian nodded his head. What? Sai Lei was stunned. Suddenly, she reacted and looked at Tang Tian in disbelief. You guys have mechanical weapons? Upon seeing Tang Tian, Sai Lei's eyes lit up. You're finally here. If you'd stood me up, you'd be dead. Sai Lei was stunned, and so was Tang Tian. Under Sai Lei's pressure, Tang Tian's body leaned back with all his might. His face full of fear, all the muscles in his body tensed up, his legs prepared to escape at any time. Bing suddenly spoke. Chapter 84. His movements and standard, the higher the standard, the better. Bing had already started to plan in his heart to find an outstanding opponent for Tang Tian. It was a pity that he was the only one left in the army. If not, he could pull out a dozen of the perverts in the army and teach Tang Tian a lesson one by one. When she saw the entire armory full of mechanical weapons, she immediately fainted. When she woke up, she was completely immersed in the formation of the mechanical weapons. No matter what Tang Tian said to her, she acted as though she did not hear anything. Her mouth was mumbling to herself, as though she was in a trance. Tang Tian was dumbstruck and immediately had a look of sympathy. Uncle, it was not easy for you to survive in such a vile environment. Which place? Is there a difference? Tang Tian learned very quickly and followed from afar. Kong Yulin did not expect that in Three Spirit City there would actually be someone following him. Back at Three Spirit City, the two of them prepared to return to the recruit training camp. Although Three Spirit City was a spirit region, but the flow of time was no different from a non-spirit region. So the time in the recruit training camp was especially precious, and Tang Tian, who felt that he did not have enough time, was not willing to waste it. The saber-toothed tiger's attire was simple, and the experienced Tang Tian quickly wore it neatly and was ready to go. The murderous saber-toothed tiger moved its four limbs and neck and suddenly stopped. The imposing tiger's head, the killing intent converged. In the blink of an eye, Kong Yulin entered a house. Bing was extremely experienced, and his eyes were extremely sharp. Very quickly, Tang Tian saw Kong Yulin again. Tang Tian was roused and was about to go over when Bing suddenly said, "Don't tell me you don't intend to use the saber-toothed tiger?" Bing's eyes twitched. If this fellow was under him, he would definitely throw him into the black prison to starve to death. Kong Yulin. Tang Tian felt an indescribable excitement. Just as Tang Tian was about to jump in from the tree, Bing suddenly stopped him. Be careful, this is a trap. Whatever grievances, he would use his fist to settle it. With that thought, Bing not only did not stop him, but also guided him from the side. This feeling was just too great. Bing followed behind Tang Tian without batting an eyelid, thinking to himself, Kong Yulin was a good opponent. Kong Yulin's strength was not bad. It was just right for Tang Tian to run into a wall. Since he was walking further and further down the wrong path, he might as well let Tang Tian stumble now. For someone as naive as him, such an action was completely unimaginable. He's so big. Won't he be discovered? Tang Tian was puzzled. All right, calm down, calm down. I haven't been an iron-blooded instructor for many years. I don't want to be an occupational disease. Ka. Don't stare at him too closely. It's easy to attract other people's attention. The key to stalking someone is to learn how to use the corner of your eye. Don't let your gaze fall on the target, but don't let it drift away either. Noticing the change in Tang Tian's expression, Bing's gaze turned towards him, and he laughed. Bing's poker face twitched weirdly. He still had something to say. The saber-toothed tiger was indeed used to do some sneak attacks, but it rarely moved alone. And those who had the ability to control it alone and carry out a sneak attack were all experts among experts. Tang Tian did not hesitate. He immediately jumped down. Following Bing's instructions, he found a green brick and flipped over. Tang Tian could not wait to catch someone and fight to his heart's content. She'll be fine if I leave her alone here. Tang Tian was hesitant. Then we'll come back after a few days. Tang Tian said, we'll go back and test out the effects of the spirit weapon. You're a rookie, Bing said impolitely. Let's follow. Tang Tian said softly. With that, he bent down and followed Kong Yulin from afar. It was actually Kong Yulin. Tang Tian was not the least bit nervous. On the contrary, the dangers around him made him extremely focused. Young man, reality is always cruel. I learned it from others. Bing thought about the scene when he first entered the army. His heart was filled with warmth. That year, he was tricked in the army just like that. Upon hearing that, Tang Tian did not say a word. Like a leopard cat, he leapt up the tree. The tree's leaves were extremely dense. Tang Tian's figure was hidden in it. It was extremely hard to detect him. Even Tang Tian felt that the defense of the Lin family was too weak, who did not chop down the trees outside the walls. Wasn't that giving people the chance to attack? But this world was even more unfamiliar to Bing. Tang Tian was shocked. This Lin family, what was its background? Just like in the ancient times, it would quietly enter the darkness after waking up and enter the hunting grounds. Within the walls, layers of red tiles and cornices were piled up. Tall buildings stood in great numbers. It occupied a few hectares of land. Tang Tian never thought that, within the walls, there would be so many buildings. It was like a small town. Bing said in a low voice, Humph, such a design is really stupid. I hate this kind of sinister design the most. The defense should be open and above board, so that the enemy can't break through. Start counting from your feet. Turn left. The 19th brick. Enter from there. That's right. Bing clenched his teeth. A bastard who only knows how to eat, drink, and play. He never cares about the proper business. He is a cunning and treacherous person who will sell you out any time. He is an idiot who roasted meat in the middle of the night and burned down the army camp. Bing did not stop him. In his eyes, Tang Tian had the mentality of a typical recruit. He was very experienced in dealing with such recruits. To suppress and berate them at this time, not only would it not let the recruit understand, it would also cause the recruit to have resistance in his heart. The best way was to let Tang Tian hit a wall in actual combat. Bing suppressed the irritation in his heart and kept himself calm. Let's start from here. I don't know. Bing straightforwardly shook his head. For something like this, who can guarantee success? But she is indeed talented and very persistent. We also need a mechanical engineer. It is worth a try. Tang Tian walked one round around the perimeter wall. The Lin residents probably did not think that there would actually be someone who dared to mess with them. There was actually not a single guard, and the surrounding tall trees were actually not cleared. Hey, uncle, how did you know? Tang Tian asked curiously. Where should we sneak in from? Tang Tian turned his head and quietly asked Bing. Young lad Tang, you will stumble. You will know that the path you are stubborn on is a mistake. Tang Tian naturally had a face of satisfaction. Other than the training spirit device, he had brought a total of 5 sets of mechanical weapons. Humph! Bing snorted. Leave some rations for her. Let's go. Flipping over the perimeter wall, Tang Tian quietly landed on the ground without any sound. He leapt forward and hid in the shadows. Suddenly sticking to the bottom of the wall, he flew forward quickly. You have a powerful spirit, General. I have a mechanical weapon. Seems like the people around you in the past were not good people. Tang Tian twitched his mouth. Suddenly, from the corner of Tang Tian's eyes, he caught a glimpse of a figure. His footsteps involuntarily stopped. There were no sentries in the sky, no patrols, no hidden sentries, no mechanisms. There was completely no defense. Bing was always able to tell him what to do at the right time. This fellow's standard was truly powerful. Under Bing's guidance, Tang Tian also noticed the hidden sentries and guards in the shadows. Relax. The base is very safe. Bing looked at Sai Lei, who was practically lying on the mechanical weapon. After a moment of silence, he said, These perverted lunatics. When they meet something they like, they will not have any other things in their eyes. But the ruthless Bing did not bat an eyelid. Lin residence. There are spirit undulations there. although it is very weak, but if you look carefully, you can still feel it. Bing explained, I'm actually not familiar with traps. Generally speaking, mechanical engineers should be better at this. However, there were only a few types of traps. Spirit nuclei and spirit cards are the main methods of traps. Tang Tian was completely unaware of Bing's thoughts. Wearing the saber-toothed tiger, his entire body was emitting a cold bronze feeling. It caused something deep in his heart to break out. It was as though there was a blazing hot lava flowing through his heart. Trap! Tang Tian quivered. Tang Tian was excited. The feeling of controlling such a big guy to fight was extremely satisfying. Bing snorted. Don't just use your eyes to come to a conclusion. You are now easily discovered. Your light body technique is too weak. When you land, there will be a sound. Although the saber-toothed tiger is big, it can strengthen your light body technique. It is not easy to be discovered. Also, the saber-toothed tiger has gone through professional camouflage. It is most proficient in surprise attacks. And the most important point of a surprise attack is to be able to quietly appear around the enemy. Tang Tian blushed with shame. I did not feel anything. You guys have powerful treasures. I have a mechanical weapon. Tang Tian laughed. He had traveled far and wide to find him. It was truly a narrow road for enemies. Tang Tian originally had a good impression of Kong Yulin, but he did not expect that Kong Yulin would actually send him to the Big Tomb's outer barracks. Tang Tian did not care about Kong Yulin's snobbishness. What did this person's character have to do with him? What did it have to do with him was that he quietly threw him to such a place. The newly activated base had powerful functions. It surprised Tang Tian. Under Tang Tian's control, the base had completely sunk into the ground. The entrance had disappeared. To prevent it from being dug up, the base was underground. It was moved 500 meters to the side. In one night, the ruins suddenly disappeared. This surprised many people. But very quickly, no one cared. Although there were things dug out from the ruins, there were no precious items. Three Spirit City was located in a remote location in the Spirit region. There were few experts. Very quickly, people forgot about it. Oh, Tang Tian replied. Immediately, he asked excitedly, Uncle, do you think the improvements you mentioned will be successful? Tang Tian did not argue. Regarding the fact that he was a newbie, he was rather aware of it. I never thought that, although this woman is usually not proper, but she is really obsessed with mechanical techniques. Tang Tian suddenly glanced at Bing. I really couldn't tell. Uncle, you're so sinister. Tang Tian was overjoyed. He quickly ran to a corner and took out the saber-toothed tiger. Chapter 85. In a hidden corner, Tang Tian watched as Kong Yulin, who was accompanied by a few people, walked into a solemn and serene old house. What start? Bing was startled. Bing was taken aback. After a distance of 100 m, Tang Tian's speed did not decrease at all. Instead, it increased. Short distance sprinting was like that. Its speed was a process of continuously increasing. Tang Tian's speed could increase again. That meant his short distance sprinting did not have any technical mistakes. Young lad, do you see that gray place? Bing suddenly said. Short distance sprinting techniques did not have many essentials, but these few movements required the perfect coordination of the body. It was easy to say, but in high-speed sprinting, to maintain the coordination of the body was an extremely difficult thing. That year in the Southern Cross Army, many recruits had short-distance sprinting tests, and it was extremely troublesome. His ears were filled with the whistling of the wind, the bone-piercing cold bronze, the rapid flow of true power, the boiling hot blood, the young lad's burning heart. Tang Tian interrupted him. This is called practical learning. Hurry up, old man. Don't talk nonsense. The godlike young lad is waiting anxiously. Bing simply waited for Tang Tian to hit his head and bleed. Humph, young lad, at that time, you will know that every word of the ace Iron Blood instructor is priceless advice. To be able to have such a performance on his first short-distance sprinting, in Bing's career as an instructor, it was rare. Tang Tian's growth was more important than anything else. He shook his head and threw the thought to the back of his head The times were different. Mechanical weapons were destined to be eliminated. The more time spent, the worse it would fall in the future. Stepping on the ground, the two thick and heavy bronze tiger legs suddenly exerted force. The soil under its feet suddenly exploded, flying everywhere. The saber-toothed tiger, in front of Bing's shocked expression, soared into the sky. Huh? Very anxious. Following Bing's guidance, Tang Tian noticed a corner of the outer wall of the old house. There was a piece of gray lime. That corner. Hearing Tang Tian's evaluation, Bing was too lazy to stop him. He was even more certain. Tang Tian's arrogance, self-righteousness was starting to show, and he had the upper hand. The other party was also very proficient in mechanisms. A soundless roar of rage exploded in the youth's heart. With stubbornness and arrogance, he charged forward with his own sense of self-righteousness. The speed of the saber-toothed tiger was getting faster and faster, like a green gale. The heavy legs of the bronze mechanical ostrich made no sound when they landed on the ground. Compared to the bronze mechanical ostrich, the sound was almost non-existent. That's right. Bing did not talk nonsense. That's right. In theory, if your 8 steps overtaking cicada is executed perfectly, and your standard of controlling the saber-toothed tiger is equally perfect, then you can achieve this goal. Bing shook his head, but this is impossible. Your 8 steps overtaking cicada isn't bad, but the amount of time you've spent controlling the saber-toothed tiger is too short. You haven't gone through any systematic training at all. Short-distance sprinting is a complete blank. This guy, Bing's outstanding experience allowed him to see through the weakness of the defense. Just like that, Tang Tian didn't attract anyone's attention and quietly moved forward. As they went deeper, Tang Tian was soon astonished. He whispered, "Uncle, why do they have so many traps?" As an instructor, Bing was very clear the battle of pride and the growth of the soldiers. Which one was more important? As long as we break through that corner, it'll be fine, right? Tang Tian asked eagerly. Bing's gaze was fixed on Tang Tian's figure. Is short-distance sprinting very difficult? Tang Tian asked, running with all his might. The thick and heavy tiger legs that were always light and agile were no longer as light as before. Like a sharp blade, they pierced deep into the ground. Tang Tian's fighting spirit was burning to the extreme. His eyes flashed with a cold and brave aura. He gathered all the strength in his body, and without holding back, he burst forth. Bing's face started to show a serious expression. Bing's gaze calmed down. Tang Tian silently recited the key points in his heart. Bing resisted the urge to slap him. His face was extremely ugly as he recited the key points of short-distance sprinting. Tang Tian, rush. Cramming at the last minute is completely useless. Bing shook his head. He felt that Tang Tian's suggestion was simply a joke. If any of his recruits dared to suggest such a ridiculous suggestion, he would definitely lock them up without hesitation. All those who did not value training or look down on training should be locked up. That's right, Bing said. This place is heavily guarded. You don't have many chances. If you're able to break through a distance of 432 meters in 8 seconds, you can avoid the sight of those bronze machines. That is a dead end. Once you enter that dead end, you can choose many routes of attack. This feeling was too wonderful. His movements became faster, and his true power flowed even faster. Although he did not show any weakness, Bing's heart was secretly in awe. The two of them avoided one mechanism after another. There were so many mechanisms here that it made him suspect if he had returned to the past. Luckily, these mechanisms were obviously different from the past. So what if they activated perfectly? Back in the recruit barracks, other than those recruits with poor innate qualities, everyone else could do it. The explosive power of the saber-toothed tiger's short-distance sprinting was extremely shocking. The saber-toothed tiger pouncing on its prey was quick and violent. It was displayed vividly, and Tang Tian's control was flawless. The tiger's legs landed on the ground lightly. Swift and violent and light were two completely different styles. When mixed together, it produced an extremely strong visual impact. Seems like things were not that simple. And start teaching now. Hurry up. If you delay any longer, I won't even be able to see that asshole's shadow. Tang Tian urged. Indeed, it is simple. All the rascals who look down on training would die a horrible death. That's right. 8 seconds to break through 432 meters. That is already more than 50 meters per second. Even if it is a rank 3 light body technique, the highest speed is only 40 meters per second. Only a rank 4 light body technique can achieve such a speed. Bing was unusually calm. Your 8 steps overtaking Cicada. Even with the addition of the saber-toothed tiger, the possibility of it being realized is only in theory. In Tang Tian's eyes, there was only the grayish white at the corner. Young lad, you will soon find out how naive and laughable your thoughts are. Tang Tian was immersed in it, unable to extricate himself. The true power was transferred to the saber-toothed tiger and then flowed back into his body. A cycle of true power was established between him and the saber-toothed tiger. As the true power flowed back into his body, Tang Tian could even feel that inside the true power that flowed back, there seemed to be an additional coldness and austere of the bronze saber-toothed tiger. Tang Tian was completely immersed in the state of mind. It was as though there was a ball of fire burning in his heart. The wind whistled past. It was unprecedentedly fast, unprecedentedly exciting. But at this moment, Tang Tian's mind was abnormally calm. Every movement was extremely clear in his mind. His body was unspeakably coordinated. With a thought, his body would instinctively react. After confirming that he did not miss anything, Tang Tian suddenly opened his eyes. The majestic saber-toothed tiger's eyes also opened abruptly. The domineering aura of the king of the jungle was undoubtedly revealed. Its eyes slowly squinted, the light gradually converged, and its body gradually crouched down. The saber-toothed tiger suddenly crouched down, one of its legs retreating, its body crouching down as though it was about to pounce. The deep luster of the bronze, in the shadows, had a power that captivated people's souls. The barbs on its entire body were cold. In front of godlike young lad, everything else is trash. Tang Tian was extremely domineering. If only he had such a recruit in the past. In theory, does that mean there is a possibility of it being realized? Tang Tian immediately noticed the meaning behind Bing's words. This judgment made Bing more alert and did not dare to be negligent. Tang Tian and Bing's understanding of the big powers in Three Spirit City was extremely limited. What was the Lin family's background? They were completely clueless. Bing's gaze flickered, and his excited state of mind calmed down. The Southern Cross Army had already been annihilated. There was no meaning in fighting over these. Tang Tian was the future. If there was still the Southern Cross Army, then the army's future would only fall on Tang Tian's shoulders. Bing looked at the bronze machinery unhappily. He could see that the opponent had obvious traces of imitating the Southern Cross Army. In the eyes of an ordinary person, they might think that the Lin family had obtained the inheritance of the Southern Cross Army. But in the eyes of a true expert like Bing, there were many mistakes. Most importantly, Bing's competitive heart was immediately stimulated. Bing snorted. He was waiting for Tang Tian to fail. Although he could not find any fault with Tang Tian's actions just now, he was not surprised at all. To a trump card, iron-blooded instructor, it was the most basic quality to have a complete understanding of the recruits under one's control. When a short moment sprint was activated, it required explosive power. Bing knew that Tang Tian's explosive power was very strong, so he was able to activate it perfectly. To him, he was not surprised at all. "Huh," Bing snorted. "What kind of mechanism is this?" Initially, he hoped that Tang Tian would lose this battle. But when he saw the bronze machinery that had the strong style of the Southern Cross Army, his heart suddenly surged with an impulse. How could he lose to these scrap metals? 8 seconds, Tang Tian was stunned. Bing was surprised. He had not seen such a scene for a long time. If it was in the army, if other people saw Tang Tian sprint, they would definitely cheer. Although he was against Tang Tian wasting time on the mechanical weapons, but to be able to display the saber-toothed tiger style to such an extent, his eyes could not help but flash a trace of admiration. A green shadow disappeared with a whoosh. In theory, it is very simple, but after a long period of training, it is possible to reach a higher standard. Bing explained, the saber-toothed tiger's movements were very agile. Although it was heavy, its footsteps were silent. It was like a tiger pouncing on its prey. Bing did not have the slightest intention of hiding anything. He continued to give pointers to Tang Tian. Tang Tian seemed to be extremely talented in mechanical weapons. With just a few pointers from Bing, he could quickly grasp it. This made Bing secretly surprised. Then let us begin, Tang Tian said quickly. Chapter 86. Tang Tian, who was in a state of extreme nervousness, was shocked by Bing's sudden words and almost jumped up. Huh, Kong Yulin laughed. Brother Kong, you flatter me. The head of the Lin family, Lin Jiang, said humbly. He was about 40 years old and looked thin, but his eyes were bright. He was dressed in a green robe. He smiled and said, compared to Brother Kong, I'm nothing. Brother Kong's swan armor is famous far and wide. Even I, who live in the Seoul region, have heard of it more than once. Lin Jiang waved his hand. Brother Kong, you are treating me like an outsider. Say it, your Uncle Kong is one of us. Bing had never taught Tang Tian super long-distance jump. Shu Sai. Lin Jiang frowned. Kong Yulin was surprised. Is it the Southern Cross Army's bronze mechanical ostrich? If Tang Tian was here, he would definitely recognize that this young man was Lin Wei, one of the young men that he had bullied previously. Lin Wei heard Lin Jiang scolding and saw that there was a guest, so he quickly apologized. Uncle, please forgive me. I was too rash. At this moment, Bing appeared beside Tang Tian like a ghost, and suddenly said, this Lin family is really idiotic. The mechanical beast actually only recognizes others. Then, he left behind a suave figure. He was a strict instructor, and he was stubbornly strict towards training. But when his gaze followed the soaring saber-toothed tiger, the voices in his heart seemed to fade away. He was slightly absent-minded. The saber-toothed tiger in the sky rode on the sun, and he had an illusion that it was flying in the sky. Old Manny, Bing's laughter was filled with killing intent. Could it be that there is a problem with the weak point arena? Lin Jiang was startled and quickly asked. Poof! Lin Wei heard and said honestly, the guy who rode the ostrich the last time appeared again, but it seems like he is with Sai Lei. This guy is really a pervert. The saber-toothed tiger's body did not move an inch. Tang Tian did not know that he had done something amazing, but to be able to complete it in 8 seconds, he immediately became proud. If he was in a safe place, he would have turned around and roared at Bing. But now, in this place, he could only strike a proud pose like a strong man showing off his muscles. Every time I come to your residence, it widens my horizons. Kong Yulin's gaze swept across the bronze machines in the surroundings from time to time. Bing was shocked. His first reaction was, this action is not normal. This action is not logical. This action. Brother Lin might not know, but the weak point arena no longer exists. Kong Yulin sighed softly. Under the surprised gazes of Lin Jiang and Lin Wei, he continued, not long ago, I went to Wuhan Star to select a batch of newcomers. One of the newbies challenged the weak point arena and actually detonated the weak point arena. Gray Cat's pupil, and all the cards were destroyed. This old man must be doing it on purpose. This guy, Kong Yulin looked confident. However, to Tang Tian's surprise, the green light in the bronze wolf's eyes gradually dimmed. Lin Jiang said modestly, Brother Kong is flattering me. This is also the first time I've done something like this. I wonder if there were any problems with the weak point arena? Lin Wei heard and immediately bowed. Like a knife piercing tofu, the saber-toothed tiger's extended leg was like a nail deeply piercing into the soil all the way to the knee. Bing's face darkened. Tang Tian's jump distance was already more than 200 meters. To be exact, it was 224 meters. This standard, even in the army back then, He stared blankly at the bronze saber-toothed tiger calmly pulling itself out from the soil. Kong Yulin laughed out loud. This standard of mine is really embarrassing. His tone changed and pretended to play it down. On the other hand, my sister has already broken through to the 8th level, making me, as her elder brother, feel ashamed. Lin Jiang was moved. If I did not remember wrongly, Miss Yu is only 28 this year to actually step into the 8th level. This level of talent is really shocking. Congratulations, Brother Kong. Brother Kong's words, it's a classic case of taking advantage of others. I've been longing to have such a sister day and night. Lin Jiang pretended to be unhappy. After listening, Lin Jiang was silent for a moment, then said, Brother Kong's guess, I'm afraid it's not far from the truth. Other than the power of blood meridians, I can't think of any other power that can directly cause the gray cat's pupil to explode. But the strength of your association lies in treasures. This power of blood meridians is useless. Just at this time, suddenly a young man rushed in and shouted, Father! Father! Luckily, this rascal was not under him in the past. If not, he would have definitely led a bad example. Kong Yulin had long guessed the previous weak point arena wasted a lot of Lin Jiang's time. But since he was here, naturally he had something to rely on. He laughed. Brother Lin, I know that you are busy. I heard that the Lin family's mechanical beasts have already been sold to constellations far away. I brought something good with me this time. Lin Jiang revealed a difficult expression. Bing snorted coldly. With a sour face, he floated to Tang Tian's side, his speed as fast as lightning. All sorts of mechanical beasts could be seen roaming around. When the saber-toothed tiger neared, the mechanical beasts all revealed a look of vigilance, the green light in their eyes exploding, but very quickly, it quickly dimmed. Flipping over the wall, just as he landed, Tang Tian's body suddenly froze. In front of him, a bronze mechanical wolf, fiercely staring at him. Compared to Tang Tian's bronze mechanical ostrich, the mechanical wolf in front of him was much smaller and more exquisite. Its body was about the same size as a real wolf. Its entire body was bronze mechanical. The structure was intricate. The foreclaws were as sharp as knives. The wolf's teeth were so sharp that it made people's hearts tremble. The bronze wolf's eyes emitted a faint green light, causing Tang Tian's hair to stand on end. In a remote corner, under the glaring sunlight, a dull bronze mechanical weapon, with a young man's arrogance and recklessness, soared into the sky. Between his words, there was a trace of complacency. His sister, Kong Yu, had broken through to the 8th level. That meant that the Kong family's power would explode, and he would naturally benefit from it. How could he not hear the warmth in Lin Jiang's tone? Hearing that, Kong Yulin laughed heartily. Is this nephew? Truly a tiger father will not beget a dog son. He has some of Brother Lin's demeanor in the past. Bing placed his finger in front of his mouth, his face indifferent, forcefully blocking Tang Tian's roar in his throat. Impossible. Lin Jiang was shocked and blurted out. Kong Yulin pretended to mock himself. Brother Lin, don't make fun of me. Brother is not as good as sister. I really have no face. This asshole, Tang Tian, actually had such a smooth journey. Bing stared blankly. Tang Tian was shocked by Bing's murderous aura and tactfully changed the topic. Ayaya, we have to speed up. Don't let that asshole escape. Kong Yulin pulled Lin Wei up and warmly laughed. Nephew is so anxious. There must be something important. You guys go and discuss. Don't worry about me. The heavy saber-toothed tiger started to descend. In the sky, Tang Tian's body stretched out, both arms raised high, one leg straight, the other bent. The ground in Tang Tian's field of vision rapidly enlarged, but Tang Tian was not the least bit frightened. His eyes were like a raging fire, an untamed smile blossoming on his mouth. Bing stared blankly at the saber-toothed tiger in the distance, using its other leg as a fulcrum, pulling out the leg that was deeply embedded in the ground. The shock in Bing's heart was indescribable. He had thought of all sorts of outcomes, but definitely not the outcome in front of him. He had never underestimated Tang Tian's potential. But Lin Jiang frowned slightly and said in a deep voice, "What's the matter? Why are you making such a big fuss? With that, Tang Tian escaped under Bing's murderous gaze and flew towards the wall. Lin Jiang's face relaxed. Why aren't you bowing to your Uncle Kong? Lin Jiang regained his senses and nodded. That's right, it's this item. That day when my son saw it, he was stunned and wanted to buy it. Who knew that this person's temper was so ruthless and used his power to oppress others? But that person's strength was rather strong and even extorted them. This small grudge, our Lin family naturally does not care, but Brother Kong also knows to the Lin family, the bronze mechanical ostrich means a lot. If we can see it with our own eyes, the Lin family's mechanical techniques will definitely be able to reach another level. If he is willing to part with it, my Lin family is willing to pay a high price for it. Seeing Lin Wei's manners, Lin Zhang's face relaxed. Hearing that it was the Big Tomb's outer barracks, Lin Zhang's heart secretly trembled. This Kong Yulin was really vicious, but his mouth said, Brother Kong is really kind to actually give him a way out. Hey, this is the reason why I came this time, Kong Yulin said. Suddenly, a voice came from the front. Tang Tian's spirit was suddenly aroused and quietly felt his way over. It was his first time learning short-distance sprinting, and he was able to reach such a perfect level. This made Bing very surprised. But this was only surprise. What really made Bing shocked was actually Tang Tian's leap into the air. Tang Tian did not know what his leap was exactly, but Bing was very clear. It had a special name called Super Long Distance Leap. It sounded like a very ordinary name. In fact, it was also a very ordinary training course. But when its distance exceeded 200 meters, then that was another difficulty. This level of super long distance leap required the control of strength to reach an extremely high level. Sigh, you know my problem. Sometimes I'm a little naggy. Kong Yulin pretended to mock himself. But this time, I am actually here to ask Brother Lin to help me create another weak point arena. Lin Jiang sighed. Brother Kong still knows my heart. Yes, so he went to the Big Tomb's outer barracks. Kong Yulin played it down and immediately laughed. Such a strong blood meridian power can't be obtained by Onyx Soul. The saber-toothed tiger leapt high up like a big bird. Old man, you must be shocked by this godlike young lad, Tang Tian said proudly. Old men are unable to understand the strength of young lads. Kong Yulin described the situation that day again. Tang Tian was so angry that his teeth were itching, but this was obviously not the place to flare up. He angrily walked forward. Others might not know Brother Lin's attainments, but how can I not? Kong Yulin said, the weak point arena came from Brother Lin's hands. Even in the Honorable Marshal Group, all the colleagues are full of praises. I never thought that the Southern Cross Army's antique would actually still exist in this world. Kong Yulin exclaimed, and immediately consoled. I support Brother Lin on this matter. This kind of divine object, if it is placed in their hands, it would be a waste. If it is in Brother Lin's hands, it will definitely revive the mechanic techniques and display its value. The bronze wolf turned and left. Chapter 87. Honorable Martial Alliance's classic martial technique, Rank 7, Honorable Martial Fist. The mechanical beasts of the Lin family were not mass-produced goods, but were personally made by Lin Jiang himself. And the person with the highest authority in these mechanical beasts was Lin Jiang. With Lin Jiang's death, all the mechanical beasts immediately entered the stage of mutual destruction. Kong Yulin's face kept changing, but at this time, all the mechanical beasts' eyes changed from green to red. Great! What's a pity? He can't escape. Bing did not understand, but in his heart, he gave full marks to Tang Tian's performance. To be able to make full use of his advantages, to be able to make full use of his intellect, as he had previously judged, Tang Tian's battle intelligence was astonishing. Kong Yulin was startled and immediately became interested. Could it be that Brother Lin's mechanical techniques had such a huge breakthrough? This mechanical tiger is very intelligent. Kong Yulin's face turned white. He knew it was going to be troublesome. The enemy's craftiness far exceeded his expectations. If it was ruthless, decisive, and sinister, only those vicious and evil people could do it so ingeniously. But in terms of style, It was indeed the style of the Southern Cross Army that he liked. His face was pale, but as a rank 7 martial artist, he did not sit and wait for death. With a loud whistle, the true power in his body surged to the maximum, and a snow-white armor appeared on his body. Bing disapproved of the mechanical beast's strength, but there were too many of them, and now they had entered the stage of mutual destruction. No matter how strong Kong Yulin was, he could not escape. Lin Zhang's heart was burning. Kong Yulin was right. He had always been looking for fierce spirit generals. He had researched on the fusion of martial spirits and mechanical beasts for many years, and only recently had a breakthrough, but he needed a fierce spirit general to succeed. He did not expect Kong Yulin to be so well-informed to actually find out about this. Lin Jiang was secretly shocked by Kong Yulin's methods, but could not help but extend his hand towards the spirit beads. Pu. Seeing the spectacular scene in the sky, Tang Tian and Bing were silent. Kong Yulin was anxious. When he saw Lin Jiang lying in a pool of blood from the corner of his eye, his pupils suddenly dilated. Kong Yulin was battered and exhausted as he rushed out from the huge fireball. Hearing the roars of the mechanical beasts, he immediately knew that he had poked a hornet's nest, and his face turned pale. Looking at his fist, Tang Tian was a little depressed as he said in a low voice, "It's a pity that I can't defeat him with my own fist." What he was surprised about was Tang Tian. This guy was simply born to fight. The Tang Tian in battle was like a completely different person, cold, cunning, valiant, ruthless, and flawless. Mechanical beasts could be seen everywhere in the Lin Mansion. There were wolf-shaped, tiger-shaped, spider-shaped, and so on. Kong Yulin never thought that it would be snatched away. He only thought that Lin Jiang had created an extremely powerful mechanical beast, which was why he said that. And when Kong Yulin attracted the mechanical beast to attack, Tang Tian was able to immediately grasp the most crucial point and kill Lin Jiang in one move, causing Kong Yulin to fall into a situation of certain death. The bronze tiger in front of him looked a little familiar, but also a little unfamiliar. Lin Jiang was obsessed with mechanical beasts, and had created all kinds of mechanical beasts. Seeing this bronze tiger that looked familiar yet foreign, he was stunned for a moment. Countless feathers swept out in all directions like a hurricane. Woo. Once the fist aura left his hand, it was as dazzling as the sun. Kong Yulin took out a black pearl. This is an ancient spirit pearl, which I obtained accidentally. Inside, there is a fragment of a valiant ancient spirit general. Although it is not a complete ancient spirit general, such a valiant ancient spirit pearl is not commonly seen. I heard that Brother Lin has always been looking for such a spirit pearl. I wonder if this thing can help Brother Lin. Lin Jiang looked at Kong Yulin, quietly waiting for Kong Yulin to reveal the mystery. Suddenly, a bronze tiger claw appeared out of nowhere, and before anyone could react, it grabbed the spirit pearl. The red eyes were breathtaking, and the bronze surface of the mechanical beast started to melt. Bing understood the mechanical beasts very well, and also understood how terrifying it was for so many mechanical beasts to carry out a suicide attack. What was Lin Jiang doing? Everyone stared blankly, unable to react. Balls of flames started to emerge from the joints of the mechanical beasts, and quickly enveloped their entire bodies. Tang Tian did not hide his arrogance in face and the seriousness in his eyes. Kong Yulin laughed lightly. I heard, other than try to revive the mechanical techniques of the Southern Cross Army, Brother Lin is also very interested in the martial spirit fusion and mechanical techniques. I have something here. Brother Lin will definitely be interested. After a moment, he stared blankly at the tiger claw protruding from his chest. One by one, the balls of flames flew up from the ground, drawing lines of dazzling bright red fire marks from all directions, pouncing towards Kong Yulin in the sky. Lin Jiang was also stunned. The metal net cover, the bronze arrows, upon colliding with the feather hurricane, were instantly crushed into pieces. So when he heard Tang Tian say that it was a pity, he felt weird. What a pity! Tang Tian muttered to himself. Bang! The blood on Kong Yulin's face disappeared. Damn it! All the mechanical beasts that were roaming around in the courtyard all lit up their green eyes, staring at Kong Yulin in the sky. Previously, Kong Yulin was not seen as an enemy, because he was with Lin Jiang. But when he suddenly flew into the sky and displayed a strong offensive nature, it immediately caused a chain reaction. If he did not look carefully, he could clearly feel the terrifying and ferocious chi emitted from the ancient spirit General Shard in the spirit pearl from afar. Cygnus Constellation Bronze Rank Armor, Swan Song. The mechanical beast suddenly exploded in front of him, transforming into a ball of flames. He heaved a sigh of relief. Then, a series of whistling sounds, one after another, sounded out like a tidal wave, and one after another, figures covered in flames soared into the sky. Bing, I must become the strongest person. When did I provoke such a person? A few of the mechanical wolves suddenly exerted strength on their hind legs and pounced towards Kong Yulin in the sky. So. The bronze arrows on the back of the bow and arrow spider, like raindrops, shot towards Kong Yulin in the sky. The mechanical wolves that leaped into the sky all shot out a fine metal net towards Kong Yulin. And those mechanical tigers suddenly opened their mouths. Boom, boom, boom. A thick beam of light shot towards Kong Yulin. Lin Wei stared blankly at Lin Jiang falling into a pool of blood. He was scared stiff if the target was him just now. Gritting his teeth, he clenched his fist. The white light on his hand suddenly became more intense, a white fist aura, leaving his palm. Brother Lin, quickly stop the attack. What a ferocious chi. Kong Yulin's face froze, but immediately his face changed. He soared into the sky and pounced towards the mechanical tiger. Kong Yulin forced a smile. Such an agile mechanical beast. I have never seen it before. Lin Jiang, damn it. He was not sure if he had ever made such a mechanical tiger before. The bronze tiger's next action made everyone stunned on the spot. Tang Tian did not have the slightest bit of reluctance. He retreated without hesitation and once again mixed into the mechanical beasts. He had heard the entire conversation between Kong Yulin and Lin Jiang, and he hated Lin Jiang to the core. Now that he heard that Lin Jiang was secretly investigating him and was plotting against the bronze mechanical ostrich, he did not show any mercy. Kong Yulin spat out a mantra, the swan song. On his body suddenly emitted a dazzling white light. The snow-white cloak on his back suddenly exploded. Kong Yulin completely did not expect to receive such a terrifying attack. Lin Jiang, as if awakened from a dream, was about to stop the mechanical beast's attack. Suddenly, his body froze. He had already realized his mistake just now. This was the Lin family. He should not have made the first move. The other party used the mechanical beast to hide his identity, and instead mixed into the mechanical beasts, and his reckless attack immediately caused the mechanical beast to attack. Pa. In the sky, Kong Yulin's aura instantly rose to the extreme. He was like a prince from the legends, elegant and calm. Tang Tian controlled the saber-toothed tiger, with 4 limbs on the ground, disguised as a mechanical beast, suddenly appearing beside Kong Yulin and Lin Jiang, and plucking the spirit beads, was completely out of his expectations. When the feather hurricane and the light pillar that the mechanical tiger spat out collided, the blazing flames soared into the sky. The most famous killing move of the Lin family's mechanical tigers was the Tiger Roar, which transformed the true power inside the star rocks into blazing flames. The mechanical beasts in the flames had a pair of red eyes, which caused his heart to turn cold. The snow-white feathers were like snowflakes sprinkling down. The exquisite and elegant snow-white armor was like a piece of art. There were flying shoulders like wings, like 2 swans crossing their necks to form a helmet, with exquisite and hollowed-out feather armor, layer upon layer. The snow-white cloak, the end of the cloak was actually like a burning white flame. Every spark that floated down would transform into snow-white feathers. One of the mechanical beasts that was enveloped in flames roared, suddenly exerted strength on its 4 limbs, and fiercely pounced towards Kong Yulin, who was in the sky. Kong Yulin only felt a ball of flames. Its momentum was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it had rushed in front of him, the blazing heat wave assaulting his face. I don't know why, but I hate the feeling of being weaker than others more and more. This feeling is so terrible, it makes me hate it. Lin Jiang laughed. Brother Kong, don't keep me in suspense. Or was it a strong enemy that the Lin family had invited, and he just happened to be there? The bronze tiger threw the spirit bead in its claws directly into its mouth and turned to mix into the mechanical beasts. Lin Jiang suddenly reacted. His face changed and exclaimed, "Quickly, Chase. That is someone impersonating it." "But father, that is obviously a mechanical beast." Lin Wei did not understand. Lin Zhong's eyes suddenly blazed, staring intently at the spirit bead in Kong Yulin's hand. One after another, the roars of the mechanical beasts sounded out from every corner of the Lin family. One after another, strong and vigorous beast silhouettes, like a tide, converged. There was only one person who could solve this problem. Who? Southern Army, saber-toothed tiger. Kong Yulin's palm was enveloped in a ball of gentle white light. In the sky, there was not a single shadow of his hand. Rank 7 martial technique, scattered hands of the honorable martial technique. His fingers were extremely agile, flicking, pointing, swinging, slapping. One after another, white scattered handprints, like pieces of feathers, swept across the sky. They looked light and weak, but when those hard bronze arrows touched the scattered handprints, they immediately shattered. Woo.